Hey guys, and welcome to LITTLEBLACKBOOK91. I am back with another banger of an interview. I'm sitting down with Laverne from Ready to Love. You know what that means, baby. We about to chop it up. I'm about to get. How you doing, Captain?
Hey, how you doing, Coach? I'm doing well.
That's what I like to hear. So I like to hear strong replies, sir.
Yes, sir. Always.
I'm ready for you to air questions upon questions upon questions, sir.
Oh, yes. I'm ready for answer upon answer, unfiltered, unadulterated. Anything that you want to know, I want to provide it to you with no chaser, just straight up. So all
That's
the
what
good
I
stuff.
like to hear. I think my connection's going.
Yeah. Your T-Mobile was acting up just a little bit because you kind of froze up there. Hey, Bianca. Yeah, I think, Kojo, I think your internet froze up. So I'm going to go ahead and take over for Kojo. So if you all want to ask whatever questions, go right ahead. I'm going to take over the Little Black Book now. This is my show. So this is how I set it up. I am in IT. So I went ahead and sent him a virus so that way I could take it over. So any question you guys want to ask, go ahead and ask me. And this is what happens when you use Boost Mobile. Don't never use Boost Mobile as an internet provider. This is what happens. And maybe this is the own network because they don't want me to tell all the secrets. So they say we're going to go ahead and shut him down. So this is like Russia when they go after some of the people who's speaking against Russia. They shut them up. So they're trying to shut Kojo up. Yeah, Monique, I'm going Tupac mode. So I'm going to hit him up style. Birthday is December 20th. So I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. Is it hard for me to connect with women? Of course not. What's your love language, Vern? I have all five. It's my love language, but if I prioritize them, it's acts of service, quality time, uh, physical touch, uh, gifts, and then words of affirmation. I really did not like being on the show. It was just not the situation, or I didn't think it was going to be the experience that I experienced. So I would not do that again. I put cereal in the bowl first. Here we go.
All right, listen. Sorry,
There
guys.
you go. So, Koja, I took your show over. Sorry.
It's all right.
It's the Vern show
man.
now. So just get back. I'm going to ask you questions, and we're going to take care of this. So don't worry about it.
My internet went funky dunky. Listen, I don't know what the heck happened here. So I'm now connecting. I apologize, guys. I'll be up in a sec. Give me 2 seconds. Oh man, what a day. All right, cool. Let's get this going.
Kojo, you have to. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Cap. Go for it.
All right. So look, this is just one. I'm giving you a warning. If you mean to me, I'm going to affect your whole computer system, your phone, and everything. So this is
Please don't affect us.
You'll be warned. If you go south, you go low. This is what's going to happen. I'm in IT. I'm going to hit you with some nasty malware. I'm going to hit you with some stuff that you're going to never recover from. I'm going to pull out all those videos, all your sex tapes. I'm going to have all that stuff.
I mean, there's
I'm going to leak it on the internet, and we're going to make money off of it.
That one definitely. I don't need to pull that one out. Trust me, that one. I don't need to pull that one out. That one's a bit dangerous still. Oh my gosh, this is really not professional. Like, what is going on?
I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and tell my trolls to get off of you. So
But you know what? I can still ask questions. Look, you might not see me, but I can still ask questions. There we go. Camera there.
There you go.
All right, cool. Listen, oh man, we're having a mare. I can't believe this. Honestly, audience, I'm so sorry. This is unprofessional. This is not how it should be like. Woo, Chile, listen. Laverne out here affecting my system. All right, cool. Laverne, listen. I'm glad. Thank you for holding down the fort. I appreciate you. You're professional as always. Quick question I'm going to ask you, because we've got to make sure you're a human being. Got to make sure that you are,
yes, sir,
real and not a robot. I think you kind of proved that by holding it down. But my first question to kind of prove human verification for you is, first and foremost, if you had a plane ticket, empty one, you could go anywhere in the world. Where would you go and why?
Oh man, I would probably go to Turks and Caicos. Because you get the beaches, you get the water, you get the great food. That's where I'll go. So I'll get me a trip, or go to the Maldives. Let me correct that, Maldives. That's where I'll be at, the Maldives.
Okay, the Maldives. All right, cool. Second question for you. All right, my second question is, if you could choose one actor to play you in your autobiography, right? Your particular film, right? Who would you choose to represent you?
Denzel.
Why Denzel?
Because Denzel, King Kong, and he has that energy, he has that vibe. That last episode kind of pretty much sealed it for me. So who else could actually do that last episode that I did on Ready to Love that other than Denzel? I would say Will Smith, but I don't want no one getting slapped or anything like that. So it has to be Denzel.
You don't get slapped. I hear you on that one, Cat. Still, I hear you on that one. And final question: cereal or milk in first, Cat man?
Man, I would always say cereal. Cereal first, then the milk.
Okay. Favorite cereal?
Favorite cereal, man, Captain Crunch.
That seems to be a firm favorite amongst Americans. What is it about Captain Crunch?
I mean, it's got the crunch, you got the sugar, you got everything you need to get you crunk. So
get you crunk. I hear that. I think you passed the test, sir. I think you are a human being, so that's good. That means we can continue on the journey of getting to know you. So yes, I'd like to ask this question. Laverne, who is Laverne and what is Laverne's story?
All right, so Laverne's story, as most people have seen, I'm from Gary, Indiana, and that's not the South, that's the Midwest, but I have Southern roots, so that's how that should have came off, but it didn't come off correctly. So I'm Gary, Indiana, down to earth, humble, but I like to have fun. We joked a lot, Clifton, Paul, and I, about where we was from, and I'm a syrup sandwich dude, and what I mean is, I grew up not with everything, but I had everything that I needed, if that makes sense. My grandmother, she was the most phenomenal woman in the world. Learned a lot from her, learned a lot from my dad as well. But my grandmother was the most influential person in my life. So as I go through life, I look at a lot of what I do to make sure that she's, smiling down on me. And then also my parents, my mom and dad, to make sure that they're not embarrassed about anything that I've done in my life. So everything I do right now is really for my daughters, my two daughters, and my mom and dad. But, from what you look at in the show is totally different. I'm a humble guy. I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'm always want everyone to prosper. I want everyone to do well. And I'm a very loving individual, but also I'm a very passionate. And sometimes that passion comes off because I'm an old school type. So I'm an old school type where, I'm always going to be a gentleman, open doors, get wet for the woman. So that way she won't have to get wet. And what I mean by that is give her the umbrella. I'll say,
because bro, you was going somewhere.
Yeah. I'm not going Tory route. I'm not going that route. and same thing with my friends, right? I'm going to hold you down. I was in the military, so we always look at take care of others first. So I'm always going to look to do for others before I do for myself. And when I going back to my statement about syrup sandwiches, I'm just a hood dude. Syrup sandwiches, ketchup sandwiches, sugar sandwiches. People look at where I'm at right now and judge me, but I'm the same person that was driving Dodge Neon and had that same confidence and same bravado when I had a Dodge Neon with 3 cylinders and hubcaps and with a pull-out radio. And now, I upgraded a little bit, but still, I'm the same dude. Hang out with same people. Have fun. So don't let any of this other stuff fool you. That's where I'm from. I'm from the hood. Sit down with the best of them, but just straightforward, just down to earth.
All right, cool. I like that energy.
I mean, most people know me for Ready to Love, and they come up to me and we chop it up. I buy them a drink. We sit and laugh. They're like, "Man, you really cool," and we thought you this way. I said, "Yeah, that's just a show. That's just a storyline." I said, "But anyone who knows me, my best friends, and all that stuff, they'll tell you. I mean, I'll take one for the team every time."
I hear that. So you talked about obviously having the ketchup sandwiches, and life was he was enjoying life as just a simple dude, right? Talk to us a little bit about your childhood then. Like what was it like growing up as Laverne? Do you know what I mean?
I didn't have a regular childhood. So what I mean by that is I had 2 brothers and a sister, and we never did not have, but we didn't have silver spoons in our mouth. So I had to work for everything that I've gotten in my life. But as a young man, I never had a normal childhood. And what I mean by that is I was always working. So my dad had me working with him nonstop. From the day I can remember me walking, I was working with my dad. So we had a place in the projects, Marshalltown, Door Miller Projects from Gary, Indiana. And I was cutting grass, building houses, painting a house. My dad would literally give me a 5-gallon pail of paint, a paintbrush, and tell me to paint the house. Wouldn't give me any directions, how to do it, or nothing. And he would be the first to curse me out if I did it wrong. But I learned from that. And that's where my problem solving came at, because my dad never told me, "Oh, this is why you're doing this." He allowed me to make mistakes, and then he corrected those. So that's why I appreciate that much. And when I say I didn't have a normal childhood, I wasn't running the streets like every other kid during their summer break. I was out working with my dad. Even when I played sports, I would go to practice. And as soon as the practice, my dad with this big old afro, painted clothes on, this broke down truck, and with his plumber's crack, he'll come get me, and then I'll go work with him, because he never let me run the streets, because he knew what the streets had for me, and that they had nothing. So he made sure that I didn't get caught up in the streets, that I got my schoolwork, but also I was very family oriented with my brothers and sisters, because, it's 4 of us, and I shared a room with my brothers. My sister, the only one that had her own room. And even when I got into high school, this is why I laugh at people when they judge me, because my brother used to have all the fly gear. Now, when I say fly gear, Kojo, I'm not talking about no Dolce, no Gucci, none of that. I'm talking about Guest. I'm talking about Lotto, British Knights, and stuff like that, right? Levi pants. I had some old Riglettos. So I used to give my brother, my oldest brother, because he had the fly gear, I used to give him my lunch money so I could wear his clothes and whatsoever. Now, my brother, he was a little bit taller, so I had to cuff the pants. So I had to cuff them inside and iron them so that way they could fit my length of leg and all that stuff and whatsoever. But that's how I was walking around dope. I was walking around clean. We had Guess at that time. We had Nike, things of that nature. And then when the Jordans come out, I'll be the first one to get my Jordans, $131.25. I'll be working, hustling in the streets, so I can get those first release Jordans and things of that nature. So my childhood was, cool. I played sports. So I was captain of the football team, ran track, played basketball. So all that stuff. In high school, had many friends, most popular, president of our student council, did all that stuff. So I was a prototypical, in high school, junior high school, I was kind of that dude, and it really changed for me in elementary. Because I used to be a fat kid. Believe it or not, I was a little circle, and I was probably real fat. And then all of a sudden, I hit puberty. I started playing basketball. I started liking girls, and then I lost weight, and then I started smelling myself. I got a little mannish, as my grandmother would call it, and then I got knocked down to the world. So that's kind of how, you know, my childhood was. I mean, it was a great childhood. Wouldn't complain. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad neither. And my mom and dad always been there for me. If I act up at school, I got my ass whooped at school. I remember a time where I was in 6th grade, and I remember my teacher. I remember it like it was yesterday. Her name was Miss McCants. And this is why I started feeling myself. I had started losing weight. I was on Bethune Elementary's basketball team. So I was a guard. I had number 23. So you couldn't tell me nothing. So she telling me to do something. I said, look, you don't have to, I'm not doing that. I'm good. So I'm acting up. And so she said, I'm going to call your dad. Everybody know my dad. My dad's name was Woo Woo. And he had a big old afro. And so I'm like, I'm thinking my dad is at the steel mill. So go ahead and call him. This is before call ID and all that stuff. So go ahead and call him. So she calls him. I said, yeah, he ain't there. He at work, so I can act up. Some told me, turn around and look. And this is where you had the old school desk with the wood on top. And then you open them up and put your books and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I looked around. My dad was standing there in his steel mill clothes. And my mom was there as well. My dad did this. I was like, shit. I was like, okay. I walked over, smacked me in the face. I was like, oh. I said, I can't cry though. It hurt it. I said, but you can't cry.
Hold it.
So that's how my childhood was. You know, it was fun. I never wanted for anything, but you know, it was always, you know, work, hard work, and family.
So obviously hard work and everything like that. When did you get time? When did you get time to kind of do fun stuff as a kid? And
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. So I got to ride my bike and all that stuff. My dad had me working. So he had me working. And the fun stuff that I did was play football. So football was my love. And that's what I love to do, from Pop Warner to junior high school to high school. Even in high school, my dad had me out there working with him. So I couldn't sleep in. So I never slept in like a normal kid and watch cartoons. My dad he came from the steel mill. He'll get his work clothes on, and then we'll go out and be building those houses. And we'll start from early in the morning. It wouldn't end till I had to go to football practice. Then once football practice, either him or my mom came pick me up, and then I'll be back out there working with him, because he didn't want the streets to catch me. So he didn't want the streets to catch me. So that's how his way was to make sure that the streets did not catch me, which was great, because now I appreciate it so much, because he provided me with a skill set that allowed me to utilize as a man. So I appreciate my dad for everything he did. You know, he wasn't perfect. You know, he just sit down with me and tell me about the birds and bees. He just pretty much was, you better not do this. And I was feared him. So even now, if I would decide to want to steal something, I would never steal nothing, because he instilled fear in me, but he also instilled respect in me. And also, it's a right way to do things.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah. Okay, looking back, then, what would you have wanted to do if you was a kid? Then, what would you have wanted to do?
You know what? It's nothing I wanted to do, because, you know, I got to run and play with my friends. I just didn't get to wake up on, say, for instance, a summer break and just have a whole summer break where I could just run the streets.
Okay.
But I never missed that. You know what I'm saying? I never desired that. The things I desired was going out playing football, which I did. Or playing basketball at Idaho or at Ironwood Park or at Door Miller Projects, playing basketball, getting a good pickup game. Because back in Indiana, we played ball. And basketball was a big thing. So, as much as I talk about Michael Jackson, Glenn Robinson was bigger, because he was closer to my family, because he went to school with my brother. And I got to play with these guys. So I got to play with him, Carlos Floyd, and these was known names in the basketball arena, not only nationally, but locally. Not only locally, but nationally. So it was like a privilege to even just see them play ball. And some of the people who didn't make it to the league, but they can play ball like no other.
Okay, I like that. I like that. All right, cool. So obviously, you grew up as an industrious kid. As you said, in those moments and stuff like that. What would you say was describe? I guess describe your relationship with your father. Then what was because a man and a father's connection is so important. So and you speak quite fondly of him. So describe your relationship with your father. What was it like growing up with your dad?
Man, it was not what they call it. It was more like the good times.
Mm,
It was more good times, right? It wasn't like the Brady Bunch where he sat down, we had long talks to talk about girls and stuff like that. He just pretty much told me, "You bet not do that," or I just knew not to do that, right?
mm,
Because you didn't talk back and things of that nature. But he taught me so much. But the person that really was so influential in my life, the reason I speak of my dad because my dad's still around, but my grandmother was, oh my goodness, she was the most phenomenal woman, and she taught me things without teaching me things, if that makes sense.
mm,
Because people ask me now, how do you know how to do that? Well, I just picked up on my grandmother doing it. How to run a household. My grandmother, she didn't have a high school diploma. She didn't have a degree. She didn't. I think she finished elementary school, but we never wanted for anything. If I wanted
mm,
anything, she had it. She is the first person that I ever know that had perfect credit. And back in those days, we didn't know what perfect credit was, right? And now people probably laugh at me, but she had the black card for J.C. Penney. And back in the
mm,
day, J.C. Penney was that spot. That's where you went. And it was nothing that she could not get. She just was that woman. And she was just so phenomenal. And she took care of my granddad. She took care of everybody. And I never heard my grandmother complain about nothing. And I was
mm.
the only one of her grandchildren that she never had to whoop. So I hold that dear, and my family tell you, say, yeah. I'm not going to tell you my nickname because everybody started laughing over here. I don't want to break the internet, but they will say, yeah, he was the only one that did not get a whooping from my grandmother. So my grandmother Irene, she was the most phenomenal woman, and that is the most influential person in my life, even to this day. So as I date and engage with women, she is that prototype. She is not, people, kind of blew up about the whole Oprah thing and all that stuff. I don't know Oprah. I don't know Michelle Obama. I know Irene Strickland. And Irene
Mm,
Strickland was a phenomenal woman. I mean,
mm.
never wanted for anything. Took care of my grandfather till he passed away. And then not too long after, she passed away.
Sorry to hear
But
that.
but but my grandmother, even when I left to the military, she went through dementia and things of that nature. But when I came home, she knew who I was, and she used to
Mm,
call me. She'd tell me, she'd say, "Jr. They think I don't know, but I know." And I say, "Grandma, I know." She'd make the perfect rolls, the brownies. So my grandmother's phenomenal. So those two people, my mom had an influential part of me, but my dad was a man's man. So he always believed in he raised the boys, you raised the girls, and I spent a lot of time with my dad and my grandmother.
okay, okay, okay. Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing that as well. What would you say is one of the greatest lessons you learned from your dad then?
Greatest lesson is handle your business,
Mm,
handle your business, and don't make any excuses. And the greatest thing I learned from my grandmother is quality over quantity.
mm,
So I have one good pair of pants instead of having 10 pair of pants that's cheap. So that's why I value certain things. So she always, and then take care of yourself. Because, people made fun of me because I dress clean at the gym. Even the military, they thought the military was the one who pretty much set me up. But my grandmother, always take care of yourself because guess what? You
mm,
don't know when someone's going to see you. So even with clean underwear, make sure you got clean underwear on. Make sure you cutting the grass and make sure that you don't look like you just been thrown away because guess what? We didn't raise you that way. So
mm,
that's what I learned is take care of yourself. You don't need a woman to take care of you. We taught you how to take care of yourself. So handle your business, be accountable, and you don't need no one to tell you what the right thing. Always do the right thing.
mm. Okay, yeah. I mean, so for you then, do you feel okay? So because like you spoke quite fondly of her family and stuff like that as well. Just because I like, especially when I'm talking to the men, I like to talk about fathers and sons and our relationships. I always like to share as well, that, my dad was great too, in terms of being there, present, and just kind of looking after me, and he saved me a few times from a few little moments, what I mean, out in them streets. There's been some times,
Same here.
you know what I mean? I always share this as well. I said, my dad didn't have a dad, so I can't say he didn't have a dad, but his dad wasn't never really present. So he was kind of learning. He was learning on the job.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So whatever he had, he gave as much as he could give to me.
Yeah.
So that strong upbringing of, look, this is what I expect. It's what I got. I think when I look back at it now, I'm like, those parts were brilliant because they, like you said, it means you never struggle in terms of holding your own.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere you can handle yourself, you don't really struggle in those kind of things.
Yeah.
But in terms, obviously, I would say for like the emotional aspect, that's the only part that I wish I had more. But I know he can only give what he had.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering for you, is that the same for you?
Yeah, same for me, because that's what I tell people, right? And I found that out doing therapy. I said, but I never held this against my dad, because his dad, he was doing better than what he knew.
Exactly.
And guess what? I can't hold that against him, right?
Yeah.
Because he was doing much better than what my grandfather did. And my grandfather wasn't the best man. He wasn't the best dad. I don't even remember him as a granddad, to tell you, because my dad would not allow me around him for the most part.
I understand.
So, or didn't have me. I wouldn't say I didn't allow. He just didn't have me around him. So my dad, as imperfectly he was perfect for what the Lord blessed me with and what I needed. So, and then, with me going through therapy, I thought that as long as I wasn't doing some of the things that he did, that I was being the perfect man. And then once I went to therapy, then it's like, oh, well, you need to you need to look at it a little bit differently. You need to say, okay, look, that's great that you're doing more than what he does, but don't use that as the bar. Look at how you can be overall a well-rounded man. And then once my therapist said that, she clicked in, right? Because that helped me to be a better father to my girls, to sit down and talk to them. Because, my girls will tell you, I'm like, I took them to get their first bras. I had no issues with it. I talked to them about birth control. I talked to them about everything. Yeah, I was like, look, don't look at me as your dad. Just look at me as, do respect me as your dad. But we need to have those conversations. I understand.
Trust me.
Yeah, because my dad didn't have those conversations with me. He didn't tell me about how women are and how the social interaction is. I had to learn that. And I'm still learning that, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm 45 and I'm still learning how to really engage on a productive level to have a productive relationship, because I knew coming up what I wanted in a relationship and what I didn't want. And a lot of things, what I've seen is what I saw in, relationships within my family and outside my family. I said, I just didn't want that.
What took you to therapy then? So, that obviously that's a big thing, especially within our community. Bruh, it's not easy, bro. So what made you go into therapy?
So when I came out of my divorce, I thought I was the best thing since sliced bread.
I hate you,
believe it or not, Kojo, I had a little bit of confidence. Believe it or not, just a little bit. And coming out of there, I thought, hey, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. It's going to be easy for me to get into a relationship, build a family, and get with a woman. And I dated someone, and she was like, well, you probably need to sit down and talk to somebody. I'm like, whatever. You know how black men do. Whatever. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm perfect.
Good.
And so what I did was I said, you know what? I'm going to sit down, because I know I'm good. I know I'm a good man. So I'm going to sit down, check the box, and tell her, look, I got my seal of approval right here. She said I'm perfect. Now, bam. And I did the first session with her. And I was like, okay, how do I set up my next session? And I wanted to set up like weekly sessions with you, because what it highlighted was you do have some things that you need to work on. And for you to be in a relationship and for you to be a better father, a better friend, and a better overall person, you need to go through this process, because there's certain things being in the Black community that we just have not been exposed to. And what we haven't been exposed to, it just normal interaction, what should be just normal, how to handle our emotions and things of that nature. So once I, sat down with her at one time, it was a blessing. And that was the Lord humbled me, because the Lord literally humbled me throughout this process. And this is where, I speak a lot about discernment. And this is where, the Lord puts certain people in your life. And then once he put those people in your life, you see certain things. And then he slowed me down. Because it literally put me to the point like, you need to do this. Yeah. And when I did do it, I felt like a new man as I went through that process. And I'm still going through that process as well. Meaning which, I do my daily maintenance, just like a Mercedes-Benz or a nice car. You just can't drive it and not do the maintenance and not do the preventive care on it. So that's part of your preventive care. Like go in, sit down, talk about things, and just, let stuff out. Because even with this process, it was so much that you deal with that you just got to let it out. So that way you won't have any residue.
So for you, like, without obviously going too deep into it, because obviously it's therapy is your situation, when you went into there and you then, like I said, you were getting humbled, what specifically was kind of making sense for you or resonating with you, like, okay, I need to look at this and kind of work on it?
Yeah, I mean, how I engage, right? Say, okay, because it's certain ways you can say things that can be a more proper way of saying it, more tactful. And that was my problem, right? I could say things, but sometimes, Laverne, it's a better way to say it. Think about what you're saying, because my dad was very direct. So going back to our conversation, my dad was an old school guy.
Yeah.
Straight
to the point.
Yeah, to the point. You're doing this stupid.
Yep.
Get your shit together. You're looking like this or whatever. All the stuff that we are politically correct about.
Yep.
And woke about now. If you all would heard them, you're like, oh, we got to take that child from him. And so that's what it was. It was me understanding, okay, just because you're not cursing, just because you're not raising your voice, it's how you're saying certain things can make people feel a certain way. So before you, and even in the military, because, military, get this done. I don't care how you feel. Take your feelings out of it. It's about the mission. And that's what it was. And it was like, hey, take it back some, be a little bit kinder, a little bit gentler, and you don't have to be so raw. You don't have to handle people so roughly. And so that's what it helped me to do, to handle people a little bit more appropriately and engage with them and things of that nature.
Like, so for you then, I don't know if it's the same for you then, because like, I think we're kind of connecting on the father issue in terms of fathers being strict and down the line. I think for me, obviously, what I started discovering, and it might be different for you, and maybe you can kind of share your perspective on this, was that for me, it was the difficulty I found was the expressing the emotion side. So I could express it, but like it's not a fluent language. It wasn't a fluent language. You know what I mean? Like I would show you I care, but expressing it wasn't my natural fluent language. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the same for you.
Yeah, I couldn't be vulnerable.
Okay.
I could not be vulnerable to it, especially saying like, you hurt me. Like, hey, you hurt me.
That I couldn't. Yeah, I'm gonna cuss you out.
Yeah, like I said, I played ball, so you can never show any sign of weakness. I know I had a couple of concussions in my life, and guess what? My coach always told me, "Hey, suck it up, son. Suck it up." And same thing, my dad, suck it up, son. I had this mark right here from when I played ball, and I got cut up real bad. Put a paper bag on it, stop the bleeding, you'll be all right. So that's what it was, right? Being able to be vulnerable, being able to say, express yourself in a productive manner, and understanding and being in touch with your emotions. Because, us as men, it's frowned upon, but it's wanted, but still it's frowned upon for us to show any type of, weakness or vulnerability. Because we're supposed to be invincible. And at a certain point, that becomes unrealistic. And it comes to be the way of the world on you. And so you need that outlet You need that person where you can release that stuff. Because if not, it's just going to eventually just going to explode.
How did you, if you're still working, I don't know if you're still working or you have worked past it, whichever you feel like. How did you kind of deal then with meeting that wall of knowing now that you need to express how you feel, like, and you need to be able to express your sentiments? How did you begin to work on that, if you want to call it that?
It was actually in multiple different ways. So it was not having productive relationships in your life and saying what's wrong.
Trust me, I hear
because we're rational, logical thinkers. Like something's not right. So you can't always blame the other person, because I always talk, when you point one, it's four pointing back at you.
Yeah.
So it was a multitude of things, right? Say, okay, certain things is not working out. And then as I'm also working on my spiritual side, I started getting the discernment saying you need to really kind of look at how you interact and do things.
Yeah.
Because, we always can do things better. And also I had some good mentors in my life. So I have some best friends from the military and things of that nature where I can speak with them and they can also agree, say, yeah, it's a better way you can do that. So having those people in your life that can actually help you with that process, who's not going to always tell you that you're perfect. That's not going to always tell you what you need to hear. They're going to tell you, or what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need to hear. And I had a couple of friends like that, James Price, Michael Green, old military friends, Philip Thompson. They were like, yeah, it's always a better way you can do things. You're a smart guy. You got a lot going on, but it's a better way for you to do things. So I take stuff from from everyone. So even doing this process, as much as hate mail I get from people, I actually read the stuff, and some of it I can see, like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. And, I'm not one of those people, even like in this process, where people's like, oh, that's production. I'm like, nah, they got a job to do, and that's what they're doing, their job. But we're giving them stuff where they want to use it to whatever storyline they're going to use it. So it's where accountability at, right? So, but, going back to my dad, is still in accountability. So you can't blame everybody for things not going your way. Sometimes you got to look yourself in the mirror. And so I think it was a perfect storm of having the right people in my life, and then me going through the process of being baptized and getting more connected spiritually, that helped me to align and say, yeah, you do need to work on some things, because if you want to go to that next echelon, then you need to put the work in. And there's nothing wrong with going to talk to somebody.
I love that, man. Love that. You're absolutely right. There is nothing wrong with that, bro, and I commend you for doing it, because it honestly it's a helpful thing, especially for us brothers who, struggle to express ourselves. Like having that safe space to be able to express how we feel. It's critical, man. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Talking to someone is not a problem. Question here to you yourself, because obviously you've mentioned a few times about the perfectionist in you, almost in a sense. Do you feel like the perfectionist was born because you mentioned earlier on about having to consistently work? Now we've got dads who are very strong, and like I said, we know both our dads obviously maybe potentially don't have the best relationship with their dad. So do you feel like your perfectionist aspect of you, where you want to be perfect in a sense, is something that was developed in your childhood to kind of acquire the verbal affirmations that like Laverne is good? I'm just, like, I don't know. Is that
so that's where, my old school upbringings,
yeah,
my coaches I always strive to do things the correct way. So I want to say I'm a perfectionist. I'm more of I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, because I always want to do my best.
Yeah.
So whatever I do, if I'm in a relationship, I want to be the best husband, best boyfriend in everything. If I cut my grass, I want to cut it perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah.
And things of that nature. Am I going to go crazy if it's not perfect? No. But I'm always going to strive to get better. So that's where I focus in that. So as a kid, I was never, I got to have it this way. I just knew. And going back to my grandmother, I just seen how she moved. My grandmother can make a meal for 20 people and have perfect portions. Not too much left over, not too less. Everybody got their proper where they was full and no issues whatsoever. She had this old skillet that was perfect. but it was perfectly imperfect. And it cooked perfect every time. Cooked pork chops right, fried corn, all that good stuff. So looking at her and the way she handled her household, everything had a place, had its place. Everything was clean. Everything was functional. And I just picked up on that. And some of my siblings did pick up on that, but I did. And even with, keeping, your haircut back when I did have hair, I had the best hairline, had the best waves. The waves would make you seasick, Kojo, because I had a stocking cap with Vaseline. I had those things down. So if you ask anybody who knows Laverne, grew up with him, he always had a haircut. He always took care of himself, and that stayed consistent throughout. And that was just from my grandmother. That was it. That wasn't from anyone else. It was just from my grandmother, understanding where I needed, what I wanted to be in life. And even to this point now, the way I have my household, the way I carry myself, I want to make sure that she's looking down and she's approving of it, but also my mom and dad as well. So it just came from me just being around my grandmother, nothing else. She instilled it into me without telling me and writing it down and, beating it to my head.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm ready to hear that. So, what took you into to the military then? What took you into the military?
Oh man, so I was never planned to go to the military. My plan was to be a construction guru, have my own construction company, and that was going to be the end of the story for Laverne. And then I just my ex-wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I saw that her brother-in-law had a great life, and he was in the Army. And then he told me about the Air Force. So I decided, I said, well, guess what? I don't have to worry about going to college. I can go to college, get paid for it, travel the world, and live a great life. And it would get me away from Gary, Indiana, which was the murder capital of the world at the time. It was something that's telling me that I needed to leave, because if not, I was going to end up being a statistic. Because a lot of people was dying around me. And I just knew it was time for me to leave there. And so it just happened. I was blessed to be accepted in the Air Force, and the Air Force had very strict, stringent guidelines at that point. But I was able to make it the cut, and it was a wrap. It was a wrap. Matter of fact, it was so hard for me to leave from the military. I didn't tell my mom and dad and my grandmother and my best friends that I was leaving. I just wanted to leave because it was just too hard, and I didn't want anything to kind of stop me from that. And that was the first time that I actually see my dad cry. I remember like it was yesterday, and my grandmother cried, I cried, and I didn't want anyone to go with me because it was just, I didn't want to say goodbye. So it was hard for me to do that, but it was the best thing in my life. Even my best friend Leonard, he died of brain cancer at a young age. I couldn't even say goodbye to him because it was just too hard. I just wanted to walk away like I just vanished. Yeah, just vanished, because I knew I just couldn't take it. I didn't want to cry. And that's part of that whole thing, right? I was built to be hard, be strong. Don't show your weakness. And that was a weakness for me. It was the first time I got on an airplane. So when I get to the Air Force, first time I was on an airplane, and nothing bothered me because the people hollering at me, that didn't bother me. What bothered me was calling home and holding the tears back. That, I could not stand that. I mean, that hurt. It was a lot of nights. It took me a long time to sleep because I was like, what the hell did I get myself into? I was actually thinking of ways to get out of it. Hey, maybe I'll tell them that I don't support the U.S. government and all this stuff so I could get out of it, which I'm glad I didn't. But I was like, man, I got to get out of it. But it was the best thing for me. But it was never, it just shows you how God worked, because it was never in my plan. I was never ROTC, never had in the plan. My plan was either to play football, go to college, because I got recruited by University of Miami and all that. And I was like, I would go play football and maybe I'll make it to the league. But that just shows you how God have another plan for you, because it was never in the plan. It was never there.
I can see, obviously, even probably it's the first time you get a little bit choked up a little bit as well. I respect that as well, by the way.
Yeah.
What's the why is the emotion there so deep in as you're explaining that as well for you?
Because man, because I'm all, that's one thing that touches me is my family and certain things, certain aspects of it. Because my grandmother, even my brother, because probably the worst day of my life was me losing my brother. That was the hardest time for me, and it took me literally, it took me over 12 years to get over that, and to this day, it still bothers me. And the reason it bothers me is because I know, like, even when my grandmother passing, certain things wasn't been done if I was there. At least that's the way I look at it. And with my brother passing away, my brother always knew what he was into, and I always knew if he had any issues. And when I got the call about him, I had told my ex at the time, I was like, something ain't right. I said, because I called him, he ain't picked up, he ain't called me back. I said, so something ain't right. And when my mom called me, man, when she called me, I already knew. I knew that she was like, I got bad news. I was like, I knew it was him. And
it's okay, bro.
Yeah.
It's okay, bro.
So when that happened, that messed me up. And it messed me up, like I couldn't function.
That's right, bro.
It just really hurt.
Big time, bro.
And the reason why, because I said I would have knew what was going on, but I didn't. So a little bit blame myself, but it is what it is. And then not too long after that, I lost my cousin, Stacy. He was killed. So it just took a lot of adapting. So that's why I needed to leave. I'm glad I left, because if not, things would have been so much different. At least that's why I know for sure, because I just know it would have been different. And when I left there, I knew things were going to be different. So that's why it chopped me up so much. So, and it was a rough time. And then I lost a couple of nieces. 2 years after that, in a fire. And my brother had 5 girls. So my brother had 5 girls. And when we lost them 2, that was hard. I mean, I couldn't even go to the funeral on that one. I couldn't. And my oldest niece, she was burnt real bad. So I couldn't go, because I just couldn't go. Because I knew my brother, if he was here, it wouldn't happen. So, yeah, it was just a rough time, man. And see, even now,
bro, it's good, bro. You got me in the ropes, bro.
I mean, even now, like,
man.
Even though it's been 99, my brother passed away October 11th. Even not even it's been 15 years now, something like that. 12 years, yeah, 12 years. It still don't get no easier.
No,
I mean, it gets a little bit, but every time that happens, October 11th comes around, I just keep to myself. So, but yeah, I'm always connected to my family, and don't want to see them struggle, don't want to see them bad. So when I left the Air Force, I just didn't want to say goodbye to them, because I knew I wasn't going to come back, at least not in the sense where I'll be coming back and staying there. I knew I wouldn't. Once I leave, I wasn't coming back. and not just how it was. So I go back and visit and all that stuff, whatever. And even going back and visit, I hate leaving because it's family, right? And so forth. And it brings back a lot of memories, good memories, not bad memories. Bring back my fat boy memories when I eat,
I was fat boy too.
penny candy and living heads and all that stuff. So I still go to the corner store and all that good stuff, whatever. And I see a lot of my old friends and we laugh and, have good times and stuff like that. So, it was, I don't regret it. I don't regret leaving. I don't regret any of it. It was a great time. So it was just time for me to leave. And I know everybody's looking at me because that's the reason why I did the whole Ready to Love thing. I said, live life to the fullest, right? And, how many opportunities you get to be on a dating show, be on the Oprah network and all that stuff. So I said, what the hell? Why not? So.
Man, first and foremost, I want to appreciate you, bro, for even sharing that with us, man. Do you know what I mean? And second of all, I appreciate you as well for, the emotions that you show, because I think as men, it's one of the toughest things, bro. When you get emotional, bro, it's making me get emotional.
I'm not trying to get all emotional and all that stuff. I'm at this age now, 45, I get a little bit softer. My daughters and everything, they tell you, but I always been soft for them. Always been soft for them. Always been soft for my nieces and nephews. I love kids. I love people. So I love people. So as much as some of the things that you saw on the show, I love people regardless. So even Carmen.
I hear you, bro.
Bang, bang.
Bang indeed. Since we're on the topic of crying, like, I don't know about you, but sometimes, and I don't know if you feel this as well, like, because our upbringings are quite similar, right? Like, sometimes when I get to the tears part, it's like a voice in my head says, "You better not." Like, you better not.
And you try not to do the ugly
one.
Cry, right? So you're like, I'm a man. Do a strong cry. Don't do a ugly cry. Do a strong cry. Like, keep it together. Keep it together, brother. And that's how it is. But I'm getting better. I actually have times, and this is why I was talking to Clifton, and I was telling him, I said it was a couple of times where I went on set, and they probably thought I was very emotional. I have those moments of gratitude. And I have those moments of gratitude by just thinking about all the things I've been blessed with.
Come on now.
And when I say blessed with, I'm not thinking about Gucci and none of that stuff. At 45, I say that the Lord has always provided for me.
Yeah, bro.
Always had a roof on my head, always had food in my mouth, even though it was a syrup sandwich or a ketchup sandwich. I already had shoes on my feet. And so I'm thankful for that. So if today was my last day, I'm happy. And I talk to my friends and we have a laugh. A couple times we cried. I said, but don't cry for me at my last.
That's what I say, bro.
Yeah. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Joke. Laverne had a wonderful ride. Like Jay-Z said, don't cry my, say, throw the drinks up in the air, appreciate it. And that's what it is. So sometimes the cries is actually cries of happiness, the cries of gratitude.
Same.
And then I would love to have that one cry when I meet my person and I'm like, this is it. This is the person. I'm about to write that new chapter in my book, and we gonna do the damn thing. And I can be vulnerable with her. I can do the ugly cry with her, and she ain't gonna tell nobody, and we good. But it's sometimes you gotta let that cry out, because if you don't, at some point it has to come out. It has to come out. Find some movie that you guys watch, bro, and just let it out. Because I know some movies that touches me.
Woo, bro, I'll be telling you, these people don't know, fam. In my secret closet time, bro, there is some movies, there's some TV series, bro. I'll just be watching it, and before I know it, I'll be and then you see the tears coming, kids, and you be trying to fight the tears, and you trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro. I'm with you, man.
It's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not embarrassed at it at all. So it's fine. I used to be, and I just said I can't do that. But now, I don't have no problem with it. It's normal behavior.
I love that, man. Love that. So, how long were you in the military for then?
So I was
Overall,
in for 10 years.
10
So
years.
I was in for 10 years. I was planning to do 20, but I
Okay,
end up, the Lord had a different calling for me.
okay.
And the reason I say that is, um, I was recruited to come work for another agency in the area. And they was paying me this ridiculous amount of money compared to what I was getting paid in the military.
Mm,
Now, best believe the best job in my life, hands down, was the military.
mm,
I mean, I loved every day. I went into work, had a job to do. I traveled the world, got to see and do things and do some amazing things. And when I got this job offer, I prayed about it. I said,
mm.
Lord, if this is for me, just give me a sign.
Yeah.
And I remember it. I was in Dumfries, Virginia. I used to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning to
Damn.
make it over to the Pentagon to go to the Pentagon and work. And I prayed about it. And then I woke up that one morning, and TD Jakes was on.
Mm,
And TD Jakes was saying, sometimes you outgrow your circle and you need to
mm,
create a new circle.
mm.
And I
Okay.
was like, this is it. I said, that's it. That's my sign. Because I was never going to leave the military. I said, look, I'm good. I know I'm wearing every morning. I know what I'm doing. I'm fine with it. I love my job. And when I got that, and I don't watch. I wasn't watching. I wasn't in the church at the time. I wasn't doing. Wasn't doing any of that. But I prayed, and that came on. I said, "That's my sign," and that gave me comfort. That gave me comfort. That gave me solace to say, you know what? It's time. It's time for them to move on. And that's exactly what I did, and never looked back.
Mm. Love that, man. Love that. And you're right, bro. This is like, that's sometimes you just need that sign, that
Yeah.
just tells you that it's the time to
Yeah.
shift and to move as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm hearing you on that. So we know you're quite accomplished in the career world, etc., etc. So talk to us a little bit about your dating history, career, sir. Because like myself, I'm sure you had some experiences of learning about yourself throughout these relationships. Talk to me about your first love. Your first love.
Oh
What was
man,
your first love? Yeah.
my first love. Man, my first love is, oh man, my first love was actually my ex-wife.
Wow.
That was
Okay.
my high school sweetheart. So my high school sweetheart, who we ended up getting married. That was my first, and
Mhm.
she was my first everything. She was my first
Wow.
heartbreak, my first all of that, and uh, I never figured that we'll be married, but I was like, hey, look, this is it. This is the woman. So
Wow.
even when I tell you high school, I was head over heels for her.
Mm.
She was captain of the cheerleading team. I was captain of the
Jeez.
football team. So it was just like, hey, look, that's it. And actually, I didn't go at her. She actually came to me. So, because I wasn't that dude to be going up talking to women or talking to young ladies at the time. I was really concentrating on my craft and things of that nature. And she came to me, and that's what it was. Yeah.
Mm.
So that was my first. And that's why I tell people, I said she was really the only woman I knew for most of my life. And so when
Mm.
we divorced, because I never dated and nothing like that, she was pretty much first everything. And so once we divorced, I was very ignorant about the whole dating scene and all the protocols, what's permitted, what's not permitted, things of that nature. Because I grew up with this person. I've been with her since 15. And we ended up getting a divorce, I was 34, 33. So that's a good part of my life. And now getting out into this dating world, I got to learn all this stuff that I've never learned. I've never been a person to go to the clubs, hang out, stuff like that, because I've always been a family man,
Mm.
always had a career. So now I'm back thrown into the world, and I'm still learning about the dating scene.
Mm.
I mean, even with this process, I'm still learning about some of the do's and don'ts of dating. So she was my first. She was my first everything, pretty much.
Mm. Man, yo, that's a deep. How long were you married for then?
I was married for 12 years. So I was married for 12 years. We got married at a young age, 21. I was 20. I was 20, going into 21. So yeah. So I end up divorcing right around 33, 34. So I've been divorced since 2012.
Man, that's difficult. That's not easy. 12 years is a very long time.
Yes.
Very, very long time. What without obviously going into detail, but I mean, what was the reason for then the divorce? It come to the point it did then.
So what was the reason why we divorced is because I was going north and she was going south, and we was two different people. So prime example, and we laugh about this today. She used to complain about me reading because I read all the time. So instead of being out clubbing and having a good time, I'll be on Friday night in my books reading, building my craft, building my, working on what I currently do right now, because what I do, things change daily. So, and then doing it in the military capacity, I had a lot of responsibility at a young age. So I was running, I was traveling, doing a lot of things by myself, but handling probably I had my own troops, I had my own personnel, and then also I handle a lot of high profile assets. So understanding that and understanding, in this area that I had a lot of responsibility. So I had to make sure I stayed sharp. And then also being a black man, I didn't want to,
Mess up
my back.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I always stay tight. So doing that, and she's been a different type of person. When she's more outgoing, she's more social. I'm more hanging out at home. I'm a homebody and things of that nature. It just wasn't a good sync. And then also she wanted to go do different things within her career. So understanding that, it was like, you know what, we've been together too long. I'd rather us end on good terms instead of us kind of, being on bad terms because you think that I held you back from doing what you want to do and vice versa. So that's pretty much what it came down to. So we're cool. We're good friends now. It's just that, you know what? We wasn't equally yoked with each other.
Interesting. Interesting that. I'm going to ask a question. Because again, I think we're quite similar in some of the ways. I think, like I know that, and again, this might be the emotional side that I didn't get from the dad or aspect or whatever. That once I get my teeth into work, I can become tunnel visioned.
Yes.
Because like I want to make sure I'm doing the best job possible,
Exactly.
and I want to be successful at it, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me. If I'm honest, it makes sense to me, right? And then relationships are great. I love them. I love, but I realize sometimes part of me is like, I don't want to say draining, but I feel like the focus. I struggle sometimes with the focus in terms of
balance,
emotion, the balance. Yeah. Was that the same for yourself then? Were you trying to figure out that balance for you?
Yeah, balance. And I'm still working that out, right? Because you got to know how to communicate. So that's a big thing, right? Communicate, even though my career field is a lot about communication. So communication, taking time out to make sure that person is knowing that they're special, because some of my books is probably about this thick and I got to go through it. So I get focused and I'll throw my phone to the side because I don't need to be interrupted, and I'm into that. And then I'm in the lab. Okay, let me test this out, see how it works, and making sure that everything is perfect, right? Because that way, when I walk in a room, people know that I know I'm talking about, and I'm not hit with anything, right?
Yep.
So just like with this interview, like, look at certain things, get all the data points, make sure that you're ready, because you don't want to be caught off guard. Because one thing you don't want to say is get caught.
Yep.
So I always want to make sure that I'm prepped, because a lot of meetings, a lot of people I deal with, it's not acceptable to not know. So that's what part of it was, right? So I'm just getting better at that. I'm at 45 now, and I'm not perfect, but I'm understanding that balance of how to be that person where if I am in a relationship, to know when to pull back from the professional, or pull back from the the hobby of, you know, lifting weights or working out, to give that person their time and give that person what they need. So that way, you know, you have that balance in your life.
I'm hearing that. Before I ask the next question, do you want to grab some water, bro? I don't want you dying on me, bro.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. I got my stuff right here.
Yeah, stuff like that. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, bro. Do you know what? Because I think as I'm hearing you, I'm just kind of I'm trying to also put myself. I'm also trying to see from your point of view as well, because I think like your job is quite an engrossing job.
Yes.
And your job requires a lot of focus. And not only that, I think also as well, you know, because this is something I think we probably will be able to kind of bond over, is that people don't understand the routine that you need to get into, because it requires, in order to stay that focused, it also requires a routine.
Exactly.
And then having things that, there are components of life where they disrupt routines. Not to say a woman is a disruptor or anything like that, but there's an element of surprise. There's an element of change that is embedded when you're dealing with the opposite sex, which at times when you're trying to be focused on hitting a goal, like you, bro, I hate being in a room. And if you're asking me to be an expert and I'm going, oh, I don't know, that's embarrassing for me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
No, you can't have credibility by saying you don't know. And in this day and age, you don't want to be that person, because I sit in a room, but also I transition. So I used to want to be the smartest person in the room. Now I just want to be, you know, take in the data, understand it, and provide, you know, some content that's worthy of, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I know when to step back. I know when to step back and say, you know what, it's time for you just to sit down, take things in, or just sit down with somebody and have a good time. And that's why, you know, I learned a lot, you know, from just life in general. I learned a lot from, you know, being divorced, because, you know, a lot of guys would say, you know what, it was all her. It was never me. But then I look at it, say, yeah, you could have took out time to, you know, take her out and hang out with her. And, you know, she liked going out. She's going with her a couple of times. You don't have to always be in your book and stuff like that. You don't always have to be sitting down there eating McDonald's. You know, sit down, take her out, and stop making excuses. Stop being, you know, stop being boring. So I learned a lot from that. So now I take the time out to actual date. So if I do date, I want to spend time going to schedule things, and we're going to do things, and we're going to have fun. And because Laverne is that fun dude. So I'm not boring no more.
Bro, I'm with you, bro. But I'm honestly, I'm feeling the same way you are, bro. I'm similar to you, bro. And I actually lost one of my girls the exact same way, because I just didn't understand. I understood, but I didn't understand. Do you know what I mean? Like yourself, bro. Because I'm more of a homebody kind of person. Do you know what I mean? When COVID hit, I was happy. Everyone else was crying, but I was happy. I'm like, yo, but I was like, put me at home. I don't mind.
Especially when you pay the mortgage and so forth, like, I'm gonna enjoy this.
Spend less money. Do you know what I mean? So I was enjoying, bro. Do you know what I mean? But you know, I think for myself, I think I wasn't really understanding that. So, for instance, love languages, because it was a book that I read, you know, at the time, love languages, and I didn't realize that in the love language section, you know, there are the different love languages that people have, and I didn't realize I was missing my partner's love language, because, you know, I thought I was doing enough. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to make sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing in terms of my work. You know, I took my work very, very seriously. I wanted to make sure that, you know, my work was at the, you know, the highest order. Do you know what I mean? So it was for you, because you just mentioned something about, you know, taking a person out and stuff like that. I struggled with that a lot, because it was like, I'm just so focused. And, you know, it's like, oh, there's other ways to love you. Listen, I'm here for you. If you want this, to that, I'm there. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is that like, oh, my, you know what I mean? So I was just like, it was difficult for me to understand those kind of things. I don't know if that was the same for you. Was it a bit more difficult to understand that kind of aspect?
It was that's perfect, right? Because it was. Because remember, my dad never told me about love languages. So I saw how he loved my mom, and I took certain portions of that, say, well, I wouldn't talk to my wife that way. I wouldn't say that, but you know what? You know, I will be a good provider.
That's what I said.
And stuff like that. But then I got to the point where I wanted to love a person the way I wanted to love them. And then the maturity level set in and say, you need to ask that person, how do they want to be loved? For example, some women ask us, hey, do you want this for dinner? And we say, yeah, that's fine, babe, whatever. But sometimes that woman wants you to say, yeah, you know what? I would really enjoy that you make that, because you know what? I love for you to make that dish. I enjoy it. So guess what? If you want me to help you, I'll help you, and so forth. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, whatever you want, it doesn't matter to me. Because then what's she gonna say? Well, it don't matter to me neither. So guess what? You can eat whatever, because apparently it doesn't bother you. And so that's where us as men, we have to engage and say, okay, how do you want to be loved? Like acts of service. What is the act of service to you?
Yeah.
Is it buying you a Chick-fil-A sandwich, or is it buying you a Chanel bag? What is your act of love or act of service is for you, right? And then what is quality time? Is it sitting down in the basement watching a movie, or is it a date night when we're going out, or is it a walk outside? Or, physical touch. Is this us just holding each other and holding hands, taking a walk, or if it's doing the dirty, rolling around the sheets together? So we have to understand what that is, right? And so that's where I learned got a little bit better to say, okay, stop loving that person the way you want to be. Or the way we see it on TV, right?
Yeah.
I won't be like that, because that's what men want. Some women don't want that.
Bro, like I feel like we're having a session right now, because bro, you said exactly the same things I said. I said, because I said the exact same thing. I said, do you know what? I don't want to love my wife the same way my dad exactly did it. Because some of the things I saw from him, I was like, I don't know if that's what I want to do. I don't think that's what's gonna work. So yeah, bro, definitely.
I mean, because people ask me, because I'm not a drinker. I don't drink beer. I'm not an alcohol person. And what I've seen what they've done to other people in my life. How they acted, things of that nature. So I cut that out of my life. I said, I don't want that. That's why I never done that stuff. Never smoked weed, never did any types of drugs, anything, because I saw what it did to other people. And I said, I didn't want that to happen. So same thing as I saw women in my life, I'm not going to treat my women like that. But that doesn't mean that I knew how to treat a woman and how to love a woman. I just knew that, okay, you gonna be okay. But if you want to be great, then you got to actually do the work. And that's what therapy came in and say, okay, you have to engage. You have to understand and say, hey, babe, you know what? Yeah, that looks good on you, but I like this one better. Don't say, nah, that looks horrible on you, because that's going to kill her. And that's going to, not saying I did that, but that's what it's a way you say certain things. So if we get
black and white.
Sense. Exactly. Yeah. It's, and that's perfect, right? Because I used to think things was black and white.
Same here, bro.
So now I understand it's a gray area. So you don't always have to think of things as black and white. Think of a gray area.
Yeah, I've heard that said about myself sometimes. You black and white. I'm like, yeah, bro, I thought it was black and white. I thought it was simple. Like, I thought yes or it's no. I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes it's a maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, why you add extra spices? It's black and white. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely hear that. So then, okay, so as you said, your ex-wife was your first love. Would you say that's the only love that you've had since, or has there been another love after that you've?
I mean, I look at it as like this. It's only I've been single since 2012. Okay. So I had girlfriends in between. I had one somewhat serious girlfriend. It was more off than on. But did I love her? Yes, I did love her. I thought we'd end up being together, but we did not end up being together. And that's pretty much what it was. But pretty much, I've been single for the most part, at least for like the last 5-6 years of not really engaging or dating anyone on that serious level.
Fair enough. Okay, that's fair enough. So what takes you on to Ready to Love then? What made you go on to Ready to Love then?
Man, so what took me on Ready to Love? So what made me get on Ready to Love was, first of all, Cornelius, Cornbread, he gave them my information. So I was like, all right. And he's like, hey, bro, I gave them your information. They look for single eligible bachelors in the DMV area. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. They're not going to pick me because it's the DMV area. They got their whole plethora of men to choose from. They're not going to choose Laverne. So I got a call from them. I was like, okay, cool. That's all right. And they contacted me, told me, say, look, we had a dating show. I never heard of Ready to Love. So I had actually watched the show. So I was like, okay, cool. I watched the Houston episode. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I can do this. And they told me, said, well, we pay for the dates. We take care of you and all that stuff. I said, so cool. I get to go on the dates with eligible single bachelorettes in DC, what's the worst can go wrong? I said, because DC has some beautiful women. They pay for the dates. I don't have to come out of my own pocket. Perfect. Sign me up. And that's what it was. And I was single, and it was pandemic. It was like, okay, if you want to meet someone that you're equally yoked with, or at least someone that wants to date, that wants to, engage, let's make it happen. And that's what it was.
Okay. All right. Okay. So then you get onto the show. You get chosen. They say they want you on the show.
Yes.
You get to the mixer, the opening mixer. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing. You get into the mixer. What do you kind of see? What did you experience?
Oh my goodness! So that was the longest day of my life. Oh my goodness! So that day started out at 10:30 in the morning. Now, mind you, we had to be there at 10:30. That doesn't include the travel time, getting ready, and things of that nature. So pull up, and we sit in the parking lot because they separate the guys and the women. So guys is on one side, women is on the other side, and we all sitting in our car. So I sat in my car for like 2 hours. I was like, man, this is killing me. It was hot. It was the summertime, and I thought I was gonna run out of gas because we had to sit there and wait. But once it actually finally started to happen, when I walked into the mansion, I was actually nervous. I actually went the wrong way, so I don't know if they showed that or not. But I actually went the wrong way, and then I think I was the last guy to walk out. It was sensory overload because I didn't know what to expect. Never seen these women, never seen anyone until this day, and I'm like, okay. It's really serious now. You got all these cameras everywhere, you're mic'd up. So it was definitely sensory overload.
Love that. So once you finally got in, obviously, I know it was hot and everything. Once you finally got in there, what was, who first caught your eye? Who first caught your eye in there?
You know what? The first person who caught my eye was the kid because she had this bright yellow dress on. And then the second person was Joy because she had a green dress on and she had her hair tied up. So those were the two first young ladies that I saw. And then the first person that stood out like a sore thumb was Clifton because his voice. And then I ended up taking his seat. And so that's where we had our first interaction. But it was the Kia and Joy was the first ones that I noticed because their color that they chose, that they just stood out from everyone else.
So Joy and Clifton.
Yep, Joy, Clifton, and the Kia.
Okay, yep. Cool. So those are the ones that caught your eye first. Who would you say that the first day that you had a good connection with or good conversation with then?
Oh, man, I had a good conversation with everyone. So if you look at the episode, they would say like Laverne was very talkative because I was engaging with everyone. So I had time to engage with everyone. So I didn't have a bad conversation with no one, but I just knew no one was feeling me because you know how you get that discernment. You know when a woman likes you, like the Kia. I know because we had like two different sections. We had one section that we filmed, and then we had a different section where they say, "Hey, look, grab someone, and we want you all to kind of break away from each other so you're not all together." And I pulled the Kia. The Kia was like, "Oh my goodness, not Laverne." So that's how she kind of gave me like, "Oh my goodness, Laverne." I was like, "Oh damn, all right." And I was like, and we laugh about it now. And she was like, "Yeah, you was right." I said, "Yeah, I know, because my discernment told me like, no."
God damn.
So she was my first, conversation, but I had conversation with everyone. I conversed with everyone. And we talked, but I knew that I was going to get some, feedback. Like he has a lot to say because I wasn't, you got to get to know someone. You got to get to know someone and you got to engage with them. And you just can't sit there like a mute. So you got to talk to them, engage with them and stuff like that. So, the biggest gripe about Laverne, other than, the talking, was the talking.
My phone is going off on a madness. 2 seconds, sorry. There was an alarm on there. My bad, guys. You can see my big TV. Yeah, listen. The the aspect of having to kind of discern who is feeling you, not feeling you, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And I actually never actually asked that, so that's actually quite interesting that you've spoken about that, because I've never asked that. I've never really heard anyone kind of talk about it, because oftentimes people say they're drawn to who they're drawn to, everything like that. But okay, so for you then, if you're saying discernment, who else was like you're just seeing this?
Yeah. So I knew Precious was just talking to me to talk to me, because I knew she wasn't feeling me. But also I'm filling out the whole area, right? So I know the top guys, at least I already thought I was the top guy, but I knew that the lady's going to be filling Clifton, Demetrius, and Tori, because that's where they navigated to.
Yeah.
That's where everyone navigated to, and that's where I knew the energy was. But that's not to take anything away from me, because I was the best dressed, best smelling guy there. So you couldn't tell me nothing. I was cleaner than the Board of Health, Kojo. But I can understand. And then I knew that Ace was a little bit shy. Ace was a little bit shy, a little reserved, because she was still filling everything out and trying to see where she fit in. Cookie was very outgoing. Cookie was engaged. I could tell Cookie was that New York woman, because she'd get into there. I saw that Sabrina had something going on with her. I was like, something ain't right with this one. I was like, I don't know. So I was happy when I forgot who came. I think it was Precious came and started talking to me. So I was good, because I didn't want to have to break that down, because I wasn't trying to get into all the serious conversation. I was really trying to get to understand who was who. Tiffany was very engaging, because we talked about her sons. So she was very engaging. But I knew that she was really feeling why. I saw the instant connection that they had. So I understood where I sat in, because I figured that since I was the last to come in and everyone was really having a good conversation, that more than likely I would probably be voted out the first night, in which I was surprised that I wasn't. That was Fernando, because I didn't think I was going to last the first night.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, I'm hearing that. That makes sense. If you're lasting, obviously, and especially if they held you back for a few hours as well, which means you have a kind of, you actually lose that head start as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they helped me out because I was just late also. I was on CP. I wanted to make an interest. So I was like, look, I'm going to make sure I'm the last guy there, so that way I can make my interest. So something was on me. That wasn't all production.
I hear that, bro. I mean, on the show, then, you know, would you say for the mixer that you were approaching, or were people approaching you? How was it like? Because we got to see obviously you sitting in the corner, but for you overall, was it more for you approaching? Were they more approaching you?
Okay, so it was both, right? Okay. It was both. But once I got that energy from the kid, I said, I'm gonna sit my tail down somewhere to chill out, because I'm a little bit too much. Because I'm very outgoing. I'm engaging. I'm asking questions about you. I'm not some playboy. I'm not, I'm engaging with you. I'm having fun. I'm talking. I'm saying jokes, because you probably seen that. I think Sabrina asked me what I did for a living. I was like, I'm a stripper. So, that was my icebreaker. So I was having fun with it. But everyone saw that whole Laverne's corner. It was during that time, it was nighttime. Now, mind you, we were there at 10:30. This is around 9 o'clock, because this was summertime. This is around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. A brother was tired. I needed to sit down. I was sweating. It was hot. I just wanted to find me a corner or find me a seat. It just happened to be right there. I named that Laverne's corner. So I said, anybody that want to talk, we can come right here, because I don't want no one saying that I'm over talking them or I'm too talkative. So I'm going to sit right here, have my little water, rest my little bunions, and chill. And that's what the whole Laverne corner came about. And then, people came over there, sat down. We chopped it up, had a great conversation. That's where I talked to Cookie, aka Keena, Ace, Precious, who else? I mean, pretty much all of them except Joy. I think I just talked to Joy one time during that night. Oh, no, I did talk to her in the corner, and then that was pretty much it. But that's how the corner came to be. It was just like we was all trying to chill. So some people like Clifton had the Clifton's Den, and then Paul had the boom boom room in the other part of the mansion where he was doing his thing, and Demetrius had the outside where he had the little patio. So it was just everybody trying to find a little spot to chill and trying to get the little intimate setting.
So the guys basically set up camp.
Yeah,
that's what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
So they weren't really approaching.
Yeah, well, they was grabbing. Now, guys was grabbing, and that's not my style. So I know like Tori, Wiley, they would come grab a woman. Hey, look, I would like to talk to her. I was like, cool, go ahead, knock yourself out, bro. So the guys was out there definitely choosing. So the women was out there choosing, but definitely the guys was out there choosing. I know Demetrius or Clifton never did, come and get anyone I was talking to, but Tori, Fernando, Wiley, they did do it. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I hear that. So for that corner situation, it wasn't about you just waiting and just letting the people come to you. And
Laverne don't have a God complex. See, so Kojo, we alike. So if I see a woman, I'm a hunter. I'm going to get her. So I do parking lot pimping. I do gas station pimping. I do grocery store pimping. I even do a little bit at church. So if I see a woman, I want to go talk to her. I don't expect for her to come and talk to me and engage with me. If I see you at the club, I'm going to buy you a drink. If I see you at the gas station, I'll probably buy you gas. If I see you walking down the street, I'm probably going to make a U-turn and come back and holler at you. So Laverne don't move like that. So the way it was portrayed is Laverne want people to come to him. Like, nah, I know my place, but I know when women want to engage with me. If I know women that don't want to be bothered with me, I'm not going to invade your space.
Same here, yeah, that's true.
So I want to respect your space. I'm not going to give you any energy that you don't want from me. And so that's the reason why I did that, because some women did not want to be bothered with me. And we saw that play out throughout the episodes of the season.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I get you. I hear what you're saying. So okay, after the mixer, after the mixer situation, you thought maybe potentially might be going home. You don't go home. You continue the journey onwards, and then you're starting to connect with a few people, right? So let's start from the beginning. Who was the first person that you kind of connected with then?
The mixer.
I guess after the mixer, like who did you kind of then?
So the first person I actually connected with was I started talking to Precious on the phone.
Okay.
The first connection was Ace. So Precious and I just talked, introducing ourselves and things of that nature. Ace and I, we actually had deep conversation, and that really stemmed from the brunch where we got picked from to do the whole blind date.
Yeah.
And once we did that, that's how we connected on a whole different level. So, and then you'll probably see that even Tommy said in that episode that, hey, Laverne, you're very talkative. So what the women were saying in other episodes didn't line up, because they said Laverne is not open, Laverne is not this, but yet it's still, the whole gist initially was he's very talkative. And even Tommy said that. So it was a story behind that, because they started making me the butt of the joke. He has a lot to say. He's very talkative. So I had a conversation with the producers saying, look, I don't want to be the butt of the joke. Everyone's here is talking. I don't want to be the butt of the joke. If that's going to be the case, I'll go ahead and bow out and get out this process. They said, no, Laverne, we apologize. And then that's when that energy kind of changed up, because it was becoming, I was going to be the butt of the joke, and I didn't want to be the butt of the joke. Yes, I'm very talkative, but I said everybody's very talkative. And I had to address that with a couple of the castmates when they said certain things and say, nah, we're not going to do that today. So that was kind of, how I set that tone. But the first one that I actually made a connection with was Ace. It was always Ace from day one. I mean, not day one, but that brunch, which was day 3.
Okay, so Ace was one of the early connections. Then you spoke quite fondly of Ace to a point, but before I go to Ace, you said you was talking to Precious then. So what happened to that connection?
So Precious and I, she already said that Demetrius and a couple others were her or her connection. So we just talk, engaging because she does, I think she's in IT or something like that. So we just actually just started talking as a friend level. So that's how it was. And I thought I was a connection, but then the sermon said, nah, that's not a connection with you. And so that was just pretty much surface level friend stuff. That's all it was.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess I got to ask her. She that was her storyline as well in terms of all the guys. Did you get the sense that Precious was the party girl, or was that something that Demetrius kind of just brought to the foreground?
So let's address that, right? So I think everybody used words kind of recklessly on the season.
Okay.
So some people took party girl as being party girl.
Okay.
And Precious is very social. She likes to get out, have fun. She's an extrovert. So she's not a party girl like that. So I think what Demetrius was said that in the gentleman's lounge, he was meaning that she was very social. She likes to go out, and he's more of a homebody. So in relation to us, so Kojo, you and I, we probably want a woman who's more, we cool, sit in the house, chilling, watching a movie. Precious wants to, hey, let's go out, have a drink. Let's, have some appetizers. Let's listen to some music and things like that. So that's where it was kind of portrayed the wrong way because no one took it as, she was a loosey-goosey and nothing like that because I never got that from her. So I think, bad choice of words.
Okay.
But, she's a very social. She likes to have a good time. She's an extrovert. So she's that energy that she can be the life of the room. And whoever dates her going to have to want to go out. So like my ex-wife, when I'm sitting there reading a book, she wants a man who's going to go out with her and have a good time, who's going to dance, who's going to have a drink, who's going to listen to music. That's what she wants.
I get you.
You don't want nobody sitting in the house in their pajamas on Friday,
sipping
or scratching themselves.
I heard that, guys. I heard that. Okay, so that collection didn't work out for itself. Then, I guess before we go into the Ace connection a little bit more, then, we tore you up in the streets. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. For the comments about the men, there's nothing 1, nothing 2, nothing 3, nothing 4 comments. We tore you up for that, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait. What? Oh, the comment where I was in the gentleman's lounge.
No, this one where he was in the bowling alley. So this the bowling alley comment where AP came in and you was like nothing 1, nothing 2, nothing 3. We tore you up, bro, because we said, listen, you might be insecure because the way that you just saying this about the men, we're mad confused. So I want to just get into that and just be like, so what was the comment? Nothing 1, nothing 2, nothing 3, nothing 4. What was
so that's how we joked. So if you ever watch Dave Chappelle, all the guys, that's how we joked. We joke all the time. So y'all to get to see what Paul said to me and things like that. Demetrius, he's not that joking type dude. But Paul, Clifton, we always joked each other. So that was not taking away anything from those guys, right? That's more of us competing as men, said, oh, this is another number 1, or he ain't the dude for you, I'm the dude for you. It's really having fun and engaging. And I would really, if you all had to see the whole content so you can get context, then you would have got that portion. But if I agree with you guys, if I would have saw it like it was portrayed, I would have thought he's a cocky, arrogant, you know what. But it wasn't that type of situation. It was more fun, laughing like, hey, look, Kojo got a great hairline, but you know what? He ain't got this bald head like me. So that's the reason why, he can't rock it like me. Things like that. So that's, that's how I joke. And that's how me and my friends joke. So, say, look, he looks good with his glasses, but I look better with them. So, stuff like that. How we Jones each other.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if the guys took it that way. Do you think the guys took it that way?
Yeah, they never, like Demetrius, he never had an issue with it. Paul definitely didn't have an issue with it. Because Paul, matter of fact, I'll tell you a story. Paul, I had this nice suit on, and we was doing some promotional stuff. He was like, hey, Vern, got a question for you. He was like, man, he said that suit. He was like, who tailored it for you? And I told him, because I thought he might say, yeah, you looking real good and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, don't ever let her do that for you again.
Fair enough.
He's like, take it back and get your money back. And we died laughing on that, right? And that's how we were. We just had a good time. So, I apologize if people, thought, of if it offended people, but it wasn't. It was really just having fun. You just teasing each other.
Yeah, I get you. No, again, I do understand that. So obviously, then, you another situation with a gentleman's lounge, Demetrius,
Yeah.
situation. What the heck happened there? Because
So once again, content and context, right? So if everyone, my DMV people, you all know what Ashburn is. I'm in Maryland. So Ashburn is literally probably about hour 15 minutes with good traffic. So that's where our gentleman's lounge was. So we had to drive all the way out to Ashburn. Now, when we tape, it's hours at a time when we tape it. The gentleman's lounge is literally about 5-6 hours. No BS. And that's on a good day. So when that situation happened, Tori was having a conniption, or he couldn't decide who was his number one. And we was sitting there forever. And he kept on just dragging it on. And I'm like, bruh, come on, just say it. We know Sabrina is your one. Don't let what happened at the pool party mess up. Just go ahead and say it. And even Tommy was getting frustrated because he was like, bruh, come on. And Tommy went to somebody else and said, hey, since Tori can't make his mind up, and, went to the, I forgot who he went to. And so me saying that was telling Tori, hey, Tori, I couldn't call Tori out specifically. So that's why I made a general statement. Say, look, don't let nothing or don't let anyone here affect how you feel about any of these women. If you like her, go with it. If she kiss somebody, it's just a kiss. That's all it is. Don't be ashamed to say that you like that woman, that you want to be with that woman. That's what the context was. That's what the content was. That's what the context was. But it made it seem like I was giving the guys advice. I never gave anyone advice, never told them who to like them, how to love them, how to cut their hair. Never gave them that information. I just got frustrated because when nobody else speaking up. And I was like, look, bro, this needs to stop. We got to go home. I'm tired. Laverne's ready to go home. And that's the reason why that came out like that. But it came out like I was giving the guys advice, which the guys didn't need any advice from me, and never did I ever give them advice. So that's how that kind of played out.
So where did Demetrius get his idea then from? Why
so
did Donovan
Demetrius,
say
so that's what I didn't like about that, right? Right? So Demetrius and I, we had, 2 alphas, right? And you see, no one else said nothing but him. And he waited to say something on camera. If you had an issue with me or anything, always bring it off camera. And because I want to give you that same respect. So where that came from, I have no idea. So that's why I try to do as much as possible to make it nice, because Laverne wanted to say, hush, silence, because I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this young man and we're having a conversation. But he just made a point to really go at me, and which I was surprised about because I wasn't expecting that. And then to do it on that stream, I was like, I don't know where that was coming from. So to this day, I still don't know where it came from.
So then also Donovan also felt a type of way about the in the cutscene.
Yeah. So and see, this is why I laugh at, right? Because all these guys I have a relationship with,
of course,
even with the women, because I always treated them with the utmost respect. So as we filmed, we filmed for hours at a time. And what I used to do was, Kojo, I would bring Chick-fil-A. I would bring, I knew Dakia was a pescatarian, so I would bring her fish or something that, that didn't have any, chicken or nothing like that in there. And I would bring snacks for everybody, the whole 9 yards, and make sure everybody ate. Make sure everybody ate, everybody's good. Even bought liquor. So I bought the good liquor too, top shelf stuff. So it wasn't no cheap stuff. So we'd have a good time, eat and all that stuff. And for them to act that way towards me, I was definitely surprised by it because never had an issue off camera, never said anything to me off camera. And I brought them food and they reached out their hand, took it, ate it, never said, Laverne, I don't like you. Laverne, I don't mess with you, none of that stuff. But then when you get on camera, you switch it up. That's why I was surprised about it. Even with Donovan, I didn't even, because I'd never watched any of the episodes. I actually got clips of Will Packer. And I was like, oh, you felt bullied? I'm like, you never said that before. And we actually talked about this not too long ago. I was like, you didn't say that to me before. I said, matter of fact, we had no issues. So all of a sudden now I'm surprised by this because all throughout this process, we never had no issues. And matter of fact, I invite them over my house and everything. So to get that type of energy, I was totally surprised. But I just think because they were just trying to be seen on TV. Because none of them would say anything to me off camera. They'd never say that stuff off camera. It was just when the cameras would roll, that's where it would be said. So I was surprised by it.
So do you think that the men were just doing it for TV? Is that what you're kind of saying?
I would say so. Because you can't say it to the man in his face, but you can say it when the camera's right there. You are doing it for TV. Because you had an issue with me. You got my phone number. And we sat there many a days backstage and talked, had a good time, and you never brought me to the side, never said nothing. But when we get on camera, you switch it up. Oh, okay. So there you go. I get it. I dig it. Because my phone number never changed. My address never changed. And trust, believe, if I had an issue with anyone, I went directly to them. And I let them know that verbatim. So just like when we had that situation, I actually addressed them off camera. So, and I want to say them, I mean, well, it was two people I addressed off camera. And I addressed the producers during that time as well. I said, hey, look, if I'm going to be interrupted, best believe that you all need to correct this because we was told not to interrupt anyone when they're saying something on TV or saying something in their process. Make sure that everyone gets to say what they want to say. I said, so you all going to let this slide, then I'm going to go ahead and start interrupting people. But they don't know, Laverne, we'll fix it and all this stuff whatsoever. But I actually addressed it off camera, face to face, say, look, you know, if you got a problem, let's go ahead and address it.
So okay, so the guys never really addressed their issues in terms of the two gentlemen that
I mean Demetrius I what we did was we addressed our situation.
Okay.
So because we talked about it and you know this stuff was filmed so long ago and Demetrius we had to sit down because actually what happened was that exact same situation. I text them in the group chat and say, look, this is the situation I have. I'm just now seeing this. I don't like it. And this is what it is. He calls me. We talk about it like men. And we did it. It's done. Vern, it was misunderstanding. Yep, it was misunderstanding. We both could do better, right?
What did he misunderstand? That's the part I'm trying to get to the bottom of.
He thought that I was talking to the whole crew. I was like, Demetrius, you were sitting right there. Tori could not make a decision. And I was like, somebody had to say something or else we would have been still sitting there today. And we've all been like, come on, make a decision. So I said something because also I was talking to Tori on the back end, meaning which, you know, I was like, hey, look, bro, I treated Tori like a little brother. I said, look, if you really like her, don't let this situation affect how you like her. Make sure that you're intentional. Make sure you let her know, like, look, I like you. Don't let any kiss, any nibble in the ear affect how you feel about her because we are dating. This is a dating process. So don't get caught up in that. So I had that conversation with him. So it wasn't like something I never said and waited to say on camera. So we talked on the phone. Yeah, bro, I appreciate it. I say, anytime you need something, let me know. And that's how it was. So when we did do that, and then we did sit down and have that conversation, Demetrius and I said, well, you should have understood that I was not talking to you guys to tell you how to engage. Like Eric had something to say. I said, I was never, and Eric apologized to me. He was like, oh, yeah, Vern, I apologize. I think people got caught up in the moment. And, you know, once we actually sat down as men and talked about it, we said, all right, let's just dead it. It's no issue. But, you know, you made me look bad. You made me look like you know, and the way they edited it was they took Tori's piece out of it completely. So they didn't even show Tori speaking. It just looked like I came in, gave the guys advice, and I've been quiet all this time. And then they did the same thing at the Truth or Dare. They just, like, I just came in, dropped off out of the heavens and said, let's play Truth or Dare, and then walked out. It was never that situation. So I wanted everyone to understand that it's hours of content.
Yeah.
So for you to get the full context is really to see all that content, in which they can't do it. They can't provide you all that content. And then they had a storyline for me. You know, Laverne's the talkative, thinks the world revolves around him. So that played right into that narrative. I should have just shut my mouth and not said nothing and just, you know, let it be. But the person I am, I just wasn't going to do it.
No, I definitely hear that. It does seem like it was a miscommunication because you've mentioned three guys who actually didn't hear it the way you said it. So I'm not saying that you didn't say it that way. I'm saying that the miscommunication because the people who were in the room
were
hearing it.
Because those three guys didn't like me. Now the guys who did like me didn't say anything. Clifton didn't say anything.
Now we can talk. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Clifton didn't say anything. Paul didn't say anything. Tori didn't say anything. It was just those, and it was Demetrius, Donovan. Donovan, he didn't say nothing at that time. He waited to do his interview to say something because he just never said nothing to me. Eric, you know, he's sitting down there next to Tommy, so he's, you know, protected and so forth. But, you know, the truth of the matter is Demetrius didn't like me, Eric didn't like me, and Donovan didn't like me. And why they didn't like me, I have no clue because I never did anything to them.
You never asked them why they don't like you?
No, I didn't care. Because the person I am, Kojo, I did right by them. So when I came on set, like I said, I brought them food just like I brought everybody else food. I didn't just bring Paul and Clifton food. I brought everybody food. And everybody will sit there and say, yeah. And so as much reverence that I pay reverence to everyone. So when I brought something for everybody. So for them not to like me is just because I don't know. You got to ask them that because I have no issues with them. Never did have any issues because I was never intimidated and they never had anything I wanted or needed.
Okay, cool. All right. So then moving forward then yourself and well, before we get to Ace again, I want to you had a little thing with Carmen. The Carmen date. People want to know what's this grabbing the bun situation, bro.
Oh man, all right.
I don't mind it, you know, but just focus heavily on the grabbing the buns.
Okay, all right. So that's a joke. So the whole buns thing is a joke. It's an icebreaker, and the reason it's been that way because women always make comments about my ass. You got a nice ass and all this stuff, even when I play football. So it was like really a joke. It wasn't really, I like women touching my ass, but I even have old women that say, boy, if I was younger, I would love to touch your ass. But I'd probably get a heart attack. I say, nah, you good, and so forth. So that's what the whole ass thing. I don't have an ass fetish. I don't have no
that's you, bro. That's you, isn't it?
I said, but you know, that's what it was. And so Carmen, when we had our date, she had said something, you know, because we both work out and all that stuff. And I always say I got an old school body. I said, and what I mean by old school body, I can't wear any skinny jeans. And women, you know, pay attention to my legs and stuff like that. And so we was talking about, you know, working out. And then she saw that, you know, I had legs. She's like, let me see that ass. And I'm like, I stood up. And she like, I was like, yeah, go ahead. You can touch it. Because I'm like, we grown adults. And that's how it was. It was nothing like, hey, Carmen, touch my ass because I need you to make me feel good. That's how it all plays out. And it was just a fun moment. It was like, all right, just have fun with it.
Okay, fair enough. Then obviously you obviously had a little date with Carmen. Do you think that date went well?
Oh, that date went very well. That date went very well. So I had fun on the Carmen date. I had great conversation with her. I thought everything was lined up. I even, you know, let her know. I said, look, you're not going nowhere. The guys are going to like you. I told her what guys is going to be feeling her. I was like, look, Clifton, Paul, maybe Demetrius. I said, but I definitely know Cornelius would like you. Cornbread would like you as well. So I let her know. I said, yeah, enjoy the process. I said, because everybody's having fun.
So the date went well. You had
Yeah.
a good time. I said in my review, so I'll say it here again. The part where she said I go to gym 5 times, you was like I go to gym 6 times, and it looked like you were competing. And there was a few times like that on the show where we felt like you was competing, bro. So I wanted to see if you can clarify that for me. I mean, is that something that you've noticed maybe about yourself, that maybe sometimes you do compete? It's just a natural thing, maybe.
No, I don't compete with a woman. Not my place to compete with a woman. That was having fun. It's
Okay.
TV. It's TV. It's having fun. And also if I was, it's just teasing, having fun. That's my love language. Additional love language is having fun and being playful. So it's nothing competitive, because it's not about being competitive with your mate or somebody that you're dating. I was just messing with her just to see what she was going to say, and she was a good sport about it. So that's what that was about. If you know me, I joke about everything. And then also I give you your flowers as well. So if you got it going on, that's what it is. But that's all it was. It wasn't trying to say I'm better than you or anything like that.
Okay, fair enough. And then I mean, I don't know where it went sour. Something happened between you and Carmen.
Oh, I can tell you where it was sour.
Oh, okay. Give us your version. Where did it go sour?
So I can tell you where it was sour. It was sour a couple of different aspects. So I knew that she was feeling Clifton, and she was feeling Clifton hard. Um, and it was one night. It was after a feedback date. I was like, I was talking to her, and I was like, "Hey, look, I'm about to go hang out with my homeboy. I just need to have some band time to kick it and all this stuff, have a good time." And so she's like, "Yeah, I'm about to go to bed and all this stuff." And so cool, no problem. She go to bed. I'm sitting. And she don't know me and Clifton is like cool, and so I go meet up with Clifton, and guess who's called? She supposed to be asleep. And she called Clifton. I was like, "Oh, okay. I thought you just go to bed. No problem." And then it was another situation where I had text her. And it was like a day later that she hit me back. And I was like, she had said something to me. I said, "Oh, I ain't noticed that you didn't hit me back." And she got really upset by that. And so she kind of said, "Yeah, I think she brought it up in their women's lounge that, yeah, Laverne, he thinks he all that because I forgot to call him back or hit him back, and it was a day later, and he blew me off." And I didn't blow her off. I just understood that our lives get busy. Our lives get busy, and it's okay you don't call me back. It's okay you didn't text me back. I understand it. She has a young son, Malachi. I understood that. You got a life, you got a career, and you're doing this dating show. You're going to be busy. You got what, 7 other guys that's going to be hitting you up. So I'm not priority, and that's fine. I'm not no issue. But when she did that, brought that up, and made that a talking point, I said I couldn't trust her and know that I could be vulnerable with her. So going back to our previous statements about being vulnerable, being open, if you're going to take a personal conversation that we had and put it on TV to make me look bad, I can't mess with you. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. It's just you breaking code, because it was things like
Which part did you put on the screen? Sorry.
she had put. I don't think they aired it.
But yeah.
Yeah, but when I kind of blew her off with the whole texting thing and stuff like that, and she brought that up, and then her and Precious had a whole good time trashing me doing that whole session. So that's where the whole narcissist thing came from and stuff like that. So after that, I didn't want any parts of what they had going on. I said, because if you do stuff like that, like I told everybody in this process, we're all somebody's child. So we got to handle each other appropriately. So, the production has their objective, and my objective was not to embarrass anybody. Like these women have children, their moms, their daughters, their aunties, their friends. I'm not going to do anything on TV to embarrass them. I'm just not going to do it. Even if they said something in text and it would be salacious or good to be on TV, I was not going to do it. Just not my call. I'm not going to make you look bad. I just figured as though she was trying to make me look bad, and once she did that, I couldn't trust her.
So so you're saying in the sense of the reason why the Carmen situation happened was like, she took the fact that you messaged saying, I noticed you didn't text me back, as she saw it as what, that you're doing too
Well,
much or what, or
well, as we all know, Carmen doesn't lack confidence.
of course.
So a man telling her that he didn't pay no attention to him, you not calling him a day later or contact him back a day later, it rubbed her the wrong way.
Okay. Okay. But how do you know she was talking about it? Which person?
Oh, because see, you all didn't get to see all the content.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, we do feedback. So anytime we do a deliberation, it's
Okay.
3 dates. It's a elimination date, a feedback date, and then a good date. So
Oh.
when you go on a date, you know you're going to be on one of those three.
Okay.
And I was on a feedback date. And when I was on that feedback date, Carmen told me about that. They just didn't air it. So the
Okay.
women tell you what's said in their wine bar. So they say the women say, they don't say, oh, this person said this.
Yeah.
But when she said that, she actually said, and Laverne, I called you and you played me off, and that was disrespectful. I'm like, well, why are you saying that on TV? Because that was something that happened between you and I. So why are you bringing this up in the wine bar where it's not even an issue? And so they didn't air that date that we had, Carmen and I. They just aired the one date. So everyone thinks that someone was feeding me information from the ladies' lounge, aka Ace or Joy. That wasn't the case. Anytime we sit down and have feedback sessions or have an elimination date, they will tell you what is said in the women's lounge. The women think that you're this. The women think that you're that. If you play back when I went on a date with Precious, that was a feedback date, and that's when she called me a narcissist. So that's how I knew she said that. That's where it came from. So that's how you know where information is coming from, because when you have these feedback dates or elimination date, the women tell you what's said about you.
Mm.
They
Okay.
don't tell you who said it, but I knew Karma said that because certain things I knew came from certain people.
How did you know that? Is that an assumption?
Oh no, that's an assumption. But like I said, my whole discernment, going back to when we talked about when Dakia, I knew Dakia didn't. I knew certain people wasn't talking bad about me.
Okay.
Joy and Ace. Everybody else, Dakia, all them, I knew they was open. They was open season. I couldn't tell you what Sabrina said about me, but I know it wasn't nothing good. Dakia, same thing. Only thing I know Dakia said about me, and that was when I got the clip, and she said I was bad vibes. Other than that, I don't know exactly what she said, and we actually talked about it as well, and we talked about it after the fact. So, but certain stuff I knew was coming from. I knew when certain stuff was coming from Precious and Karma, because those are the only things that happened with them. So, like the text thing that happened with Karma, and she told me like, look, you did this when I called you and you played me off. I'm like, yeah, I did, because I wasn't thinking about
Okay. So so why do you think the ladies had a problem with you then? Because okay, Carmen is one person,
it. Mm-hmm,
right? Carmen's one person, and you know what? I can take what you're saying. Maybe she a bit messy, whatever she was doing,
mm-hmm.
but it seemed like except Joy and Ace, let's say for sure, everyone seemed to kind of come into a unison of agreement that, let's say, for instance, Laverne is being negative. So
Yeah.
what was that about then? Like
I,
what you know?
if they did say that, I don't see where that came from. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because going back to Demetrius, Donovan, and Eric, same thing with these women. I never had anything bad, any issue with them off camera or on camera. Because especially if it happened on camera, you think they would not show that me engaging and having a negative conversation with someone or having an issue? I never had an issue with none of them. I never disrespected them. So where it came from was Laverne doesn't want us. That's the only thing I could come to it, because I showed no interest in them. I did not show interest in Carmen. I did not show interest in Precious. I did not show interest in Sabrina. I did not show interest in Dakia. I did not show any interest in the sense of I want to date you. I want to do anything. I never had them in my top connections. Matter of fact, from day one, Sabrina was didn't want to have anything to do with her, like nothing. And I stayed consistent throughout the whole process. Sabrina, nothing. I couldn't tell you anything negative about these women, meaning which a Precious or a Carmen. I just didn't want to date them. That just pretty much, and you could see that. I was like, after the one date, and I had that feedback date with Carmen, I knew from that point on I wanted nothing to do with her. I said, I'm fine.
Okay, so which is cool. If you don't want anything to do with them, that's fine. Which I think I think that as we watch the show, that's corroborated.
Yeah.
But why did they decide then to then a few of them come together and say you're negative, and not just say, do you know what, he isn't really talking to any of us, so he doesn't need to be here? Because
Well,
we've heard that in previous seasons, women just saying they're like, you're not open to dating. All right, cool.
Exactly. And that's what you got to ask them, because I can't tell you. Because I never had an interaction with them, a bad interaction with them. I never had anything. So I like the whole narcissist comment. I don't know where that came from, because if I'm not dating you, if I'm not engaging with you, so how can you label me as such? Because let's go back to Precious. She got upset when she was called by Demetrius a party girl, and she threw all this big fit. But you did the same thing to Laverne, and Laverne never did anything to you. Matter of fact, I always, anytime they carry bags or whatever, help them carry their bags, all that stuff. Never had an issue with any of the ladies. Never had an issue. Never disrespected them. Never done anything. So for you to say bad vibes or whatever, I don't know where that came from, Kojo. I could not. Even to this point, I had the Kia over my house. I had AP over my house. I invited Precious and Sabrina over my house. I have no issues with them. As a matter of fact, I've been over Sabrina's house and hung out with her, the Kia, and Precious, and never had an issue. If I was such negative, why hire me over to have wine and us talk? We never had no issues. Off camera, we never had any issues. I would walk them to their car and everything. No issues whatsoever. It's when the cameras came on and they got into this wine bar, all these things were said. I never went on a date with them. I never went on a date with the Kia. Never went on a date. I went on the one date with Carmen, and that was a good date. Never had an issue. We talked on the phone. We had the one issue where she felt as though I blew her off. Other than that, no issues. Sabrina and I never talked on the phone. We talked on the phone one time, and that was it. And that was the day after the brunch. I walked her to her car. We talked about shopping and everything. After that, we never talked. Never said anything except, hey, how you doing? And all that. And that's it. And bye.
Okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying. I guess I'm still a bit miffed because someone else also was standoffish, Demetrius, and the women said exactly what he was, standoffish.
Yeah,
we're not sure if he likes us or not, etc., etc. That was the extent of what they went to his character in terms of saying he is not engaging with us.
Yeah.
Why did the ladies choose not to just say you're not engaging with us, and they went one step further? My question is, I'm asking this because I'm saying, are you not perceiving maybe how you're coming off? Because self-awareness, when we talk about it, is about how our behaviors seem to affect others. So I'm asking, is there an aspect when you look back at the show and think maybe there's another way, maybe there's a way that I'm coming off to these people? Because if we're gonna say that it's because you didn't talk to them and they conspired to get you, well, Demetrius wasn't speaking to everybody. He was very focused on Sabrina and at points in time, whenever he went on a date with somebody, suddenly he likes them.
Actually, that's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. Because Demetrius had dates with everybody pretty much. So it was certain people that had dates with everyone.
And they called him out.
No.
Wait, they called him out, didn't they?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But he had dates with everyone. He had dates with everyone. I didn't have dates with everyone. So Clifton and Demetrius pretty much had dates with everyone. I did not have dates with everyone, so I didn't get to talk to everyone. And then once certain things were said about me, I totally secluded myself around and insulated myself with Ace and Joy, because I didn't want to have anything to do with anybody. I knew two people that was not talking negative about me, and that's Ace and Joy. Those are the two people I can have a conversation with, and we can just be totally forthright, have a good conversation. That's it. Other than that, I couldn't trust anyone else. So, of course, I respected everyone, talked to them, engaged with them off camera, but I did not want to go on dates with them. I did not want to engage with them. I stayed away. So if you look at the pool party, it looked like I just totally disconnected myself, which I did. But what most people don't understand is the reason why you see me on an episode that much, because I left. I departed. I left because it was bad energy, and I didn't want to be around bad energy. Why would I keep on making myself vulnerable to people? From day one, they made a comment about me being too talkative and complaining about me. And then they continue to say, okay, now we can't say he's too talkative. Now we're going to change the narrative up. Of course, I didn't make myself available to him. I closed myself down. Now, why they chose to say certain things, I could not tell you. Don't know.
But that's what I'm saying to you is that, okay, so there are two people on the show who had similar behaviors, but you're saying the difference between yourself and another person, they went on dates, irrespective of whether the person went on
then
date.
Also they was attracted to him. They wasn't attracted to me.
They okay, so they weren't okay, fair enough. They might not have been attracted to you per se, right? Mm-hmm. But even so, they called out Demetrius, right? Mm-hmm. We have bang bang situation, right? We had Tina also saying what she said about him. We have the ladies also saying that he's being standoffish, and Sabrina having to basically look like she's fighting for Demetrius, and that'd be about it. Now he might have been doing some talking behind the scenes, I don't know, but they called him out for being standoffish the whole entire season. So my question is, if you were being standoffish, the call out was not standoffish. The call out went further, that you were a narcissist and God complex. So is there other behaviors that you're not aware of that is coming off to these people?
That's what I'm saying. I wish I could answer it. Why
didn't you ask your
wait, Kojo, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could answer it. Literally, I've spoken with these women. I sat next to them. Like I said, been never an issue with them. So I can't answer it. I really cannot. If you look at the pictures that some of them posted when we had the premiere party, we took pictures together. We was all smiling.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they like you. That doesn't mean they're cool with you.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean,
if I didn't have a beef, if I have a beef with you, yeah, but you on the show, I'll take a photo of you still.
No,
because at the end of the day, it's just a photo.
See, that's the difference, Kojo. Me, I won't do that. I'm not going to do it.
Beautiful. So now we're coming to a great place. You wouldn't do that because when you're on, you're on. When you're off, you're off.
Yes.
But people don't often work like that. When people are working, they work with, some people have to be like, look, we're in the same business. I got to get on with you. Right. So is that on and off now maybe making you miss a blind spot in part of your behavior and how it comes off? Because this is not just about distance. If it was, you wouldn't have, the other extra additives would have been added.
You bring a good point up, and that's why I say I'm accountable, right? Yeah. I'm accountable. But also, what happens when you offend a person and you make yourself available? You want to protect yourself. And I'm always going to protect myself. Now, I made myself vulnerable. Now, you all didn't see that vulnerability because you know why? They didn't want you to see that. Like, it was a time where I wanted with the Precious date. They didn't show it the day with Precious' eye because they wanted to see a big explosion. Because this is where she came out and called me the narcissist, right? And so they actually had us going on the date. And they wanted to see, and it tried to happen. But I was like, no, how do we correct this? How you tell me, Precious, because I'm sitting here making myself vulnerable to you. How do we move forward? How do we engage? What would you say the problem is? Nothing. So Sabrina, I don't know why she would say anything negative because we never talked to each other, never talked on the phone, never done anything. Carmen, kind of the same way. I can't date you, Carmen, because you have violated my trust. And then you like my homeboy, and the way I roll in life, if me and Kojo is cool and you like Kojo, you're off limits. You're out of bounds. No, that's not it. We're not doing that. It's out of respect. It's man law. So that's what it was. So what you all saw is not the complete picture. just like the kid and I. The kid and I talked on the phone. We text each other every morning. How you doing? We had conversations. She'd tell me who she was feeling. And I'll say, hey, do you want me to throw you an alley-oop? Hey, let me know, sis. I'll hook you up. So that's what I'm saying. The conversations off camera and some on camera didn't match up to where they went into the wine bar, because we having these conversations. And if you had a problem with me, never contact me. Show me a text, show me a receipt where I called Laverne to have a conversation with him, and he blew me off. You know what? Laverne didn't even take my call. He just blew me off. I can show you multiple receipts when I engaged with them, actually had conversation with them, and never said I was narcissist. Never said, Laverne, this is my issue with you. So that's why I say I can't tell you why. Because what was on camera, and you all didn't see all the dates, but also which not on camera didn't sync up. I'm like, what am I missing here? And that's why I kind of like was confused, because I'm like, well, I'm going on these feedback dates. They're saying that the women say this about me, but yet it's still no one is addressing that and having a conversation with me.
Okay, wait, pause. Just say that part again so I get it.
No one's having a conversation with me. No one said, hey,
Laverne, back before that. So you're going on the feedback dates.
Yes.
And on the feedback date, they're telling you this is what the women are saying.
Yes.
Right? So the women are saying something.
Yes, exactly.
Right? But you're saying that they didn't come to you personally have a conversation.
Never personally. And we had personal conversation. Remember, we all have each other's phone number.
Yeah.
We all have each other's phone number. We can talk to whoever we want to talk to. If a woman's interested in a man, she can talk. If I'm interested in a woman, I can talk to her. Like every woman I talk to, every woman, even Sabrina. Now, mind you, it has to be duplex. It has to be two ways. So I can't be reaching out to you and you not reaching out to me, because guess what? That's one-way communication. So in the example of Precious and I talked and everything, even FaceTime. So if you have an issue, why can't you just call me? Why do you wait to go to a wine bar and bring up all this stuff where you never had a conversation with me? And we talked all the time. Like Precious and I, initially, we talked on the phone. We had FaceTime. We talked about, workouts, and she wanted to do this. I talked to Dakia. We talked about certain things. I knew she wasn't a morning person, so I had to text her after 9 o'clock. And so everything. So I had these conversations. So I wasn't closed off. I wasn't closed off whatsoever. So this whole closed off, yeah, we wasn't going on a date with each other, because after certain things were being said, I didn't know who I could trust. And then they came to you attacking my character and the type of person I am, Kojo. If you have a problem with me, it's no problem with us having a conversation.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, I get that part, but you actually answered the situation and the problem itself. You said that on the feedback dates, they told you what they thought about your behavior.
Yeah.
So you're aware, but you wanted them to come personally one-to-one and not chop it up with you later on. Unfortunately, in life, it doesn't work like that. You know yourself, you have to work with certain people, and there's certain times, maybe the way that the person might take the critique, maybe the way the person might even respond to you, you might not want to have that conversation with the person, right? But feedback has been given.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying to you. The feedback being given, go on.
But see, Kojo, you giving me feedback, but it says the women. It's not talking about you and I. So when you say the women, what do you assume? You say everybody, right?
No, it's not every woman. It's not every woman. And no one's going to have every person exactly that same way. But what I'm saying to you is that there were enough women saying that this behavior they're getting from you, because what it sounds like to me is that feedback was given, you heard the feedback, and already there was problems between yourself and some of the ladies already, and it was just the final straw that broke the camel's back. I'm cutting you all off. Right?
And that's a question I asked. Are we therapists? Because how can you classify me as a narcissist if we have not had a conversation?
I don't think you're just a narcissist person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you say inflammatory words like that without having data, that's being reckless. because I can't tell you how Ace is and how Joy is. I'm not going to do that without having the intimate conversation with you, instead of saying, well, you know what, Laverne is not chasing me down, so I think he's a narcissist, because unlike the other guys, he's not chasing me and doing all this stuff. My point is, the things that you were saying was reckless and without even knowing me. But yet and still, we had conversations and you never brought this up. You never said, hey, Laverne, can I have a conversation with you? Because if you're in a relationship, are you going to wait till we get in front of the whole congregation at church and say you have a problem with me? Or are you going to tell me when we're together? And allow me.
None of them are together with you. That's the problem, isn't it? None of them are with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they're not going to tell you that way. Like, they're not even with you, right? So they're not with you. I don't know if you actually said it. Maybe you can clarify first. Did you say on, I think, a little bit of a cut scene or either one of your dates, did you say that your ex-wife called you a narcissist? Did you say that?
Nah, never that.
No. Okay. No. So maybe my brain was fuzzed up on that.
No.
Okay. So fair enough.
And actually, my therapist, she laughed at that, because actually I told her about that, and she was like, and we had a conversation about it. She's like, yeah, you just can't pay attention to people, because that bothered me. And still to this point bothered me a lot, because I am not anything about it. I've done all the work that I needed to do. So I take full accountability for my actions, right? As most people on this show, they blame editing and blame production. And even some people were saying that they didn't get voted off, that production voted them off. And I never blamed anybody. I never said it's the women's fault or anything like that. I took full accountability and say, look, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And these women was not my person. And I'm not mad at them over that. That's the reason why even now I can still be friends with them, because even though you said all those negative things about me, I hold no ill will towards you. I do wish that you would have handled me a lot differently. But you know what? I take it as I received it, and it's fine. I didn't like it. Trust me, I didn't like it. No one likes being called out their name and stuff like that, and being attacked, and being getting hate mail and getting all types of negative content around you. But going back to my grandmother and going back to my father, that's why they raised me in certain ways, and that's why I say I was prepared for this, because at the end of the day, I was able to bear all of it without walking off a bridge.
Similarly enough, you had a date with Tina, or you introduced to Tina.
Yeah.
How did that date go for you then?
I never went on a date with Tina. I didn't know anything about Tina.
Okay. It's when you guys talked in the bowling, another group date.
Yeah, Tina and I would just happen to be at the club scene or whatever. That's what we talked about, having a chicken cook-off and things of that nature. And that's the last time we talked. We never talked on the phone, anything. I was too far along with the connections that I had, so I was not trying to entertain anyone additional.
Okay. Wait. Say the last part again. Sorry.
I said, I wasn't trying to entertain anyone additional.
Oh, so at that point, you weren't trying to juggle anyone else.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, and then she had her connections where she was into Clifton, Paul, and Wiley. So I was fine.
Yeah, but at that point of the conversation, she was new.
Yeah, she was new. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was a clean slate. So why not?
Because this environment was not set up like that. Even though it looks that way, when she came onto there, how I found out? Clifton and Paul told me about her, and then I met her at the first time at the pool party.
Okay.
And we talked at the pool party there. But once again, we got cameras all in front of us, and everybody's bidding for a position, and it was sensory overload.
Okay. Were you trying to get ahead of the devil, as I say, as one of the famous Ready to Love people says previously? Were you trying to get ahead of the devil? What I mean by that is when if you're sensing, whether rightly or wrongly, whether you're perceiving if someone doesn't necessarily like you, are you trying to get ahead of the devil and cutting off ties prematurely in these interactions with ladies?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not trying to get ahead of anything, right? I just know where I need to be at. I know where I need to be at, and it's just that I knew this wasn't it. So nothing against the ladies. Like I said, these are all great women. It's just that my discernment said this is not it.
Because Ace was fighting for you. Listen, Ace was fighting for you in the ladies' lounge.
Oh, I fought
And
for
she
her.
was, and she knew that she was up against an uphill battle, right?
Yeah,
Because
and that's why I felt bad for her, right? Because she took a lot of shit from people, and that's why I tried to protect her, and I didn't like that, and that's why it bothered me so much. Because you don't have to like me, but don't do it to her, because she didn't sign up for that. She was there for the right reason, so it wasn't cool. It wasn't for her to be attacked, and then I had to stand up for her. So just like when I made those references about her, she was being attacked in our gentleman's lounge, and she was going to probably be voted off. And that's the reason why I make sure that she was not. And I see a couple of the comments in here. The reason why I'm talking third person is because this is where you have to talk about all this stuff that happens as it happens. And when you go through this process, that's why we don't say dating show, because they program us to say process. You have to talk about it in this aspect. So I apologize if it comes off third person, but that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, I didn't want her to have to go through that, because I wanted to protect her, and like a man should always protect the woman. So I wish I could have sat in that room, and that way she wouldn't have to take whatever that was being said, because I know it was hurtful. And being the person that she is, she's a very thoughtful, caring, nurturing person. So I know that had her, impacted her, and that impacted us. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't work out, is because it was just so much being done and said that it was a bad situation.
So what was happening with yourself and Ace, that you were giving us such raving reviews amongst the men? Like, what was happening there then?
So if you pay attention, Wiley was like, I don't see it, because it was like pretty much going in on her a little bit, and with editing, you all don't get to see everything that's been said. So my
Wait, who was
discernment,
going in on her?
huh?
What was happening with Ace?
It was just I can sense that it was being set up for her to be voted off,
Okay.
and I didn't want her to go anywhere. So I needed to stand up, because, like I said, that was my connection. That was the person that I was engaged with. That's the person who I was had the most conversations with at that point. And that's the reason why I had to make sure that everyone understood, mainly production, that this is my main connection. So if you want me to stay, then she has to stay, because this is the person I have the most connection with. So that's the reason why I had to, but also I had to show everybody Ace is a dope woman. She's so quiet. Most people assume so much about her. So I talked to her so in depth about everything, and had so many deep conversations that I wanted everyone else to experience Ace. So that's the reason why I let everyone know. And then I actually had guys tell me, man, Ace is really dope. Like, I really slept on her. Like, I didn't realize how dope she was. That's because she was very quiet. She wasn't like out there. She's not an extrovert in that sense. She's very strategic. She's very, she makes sure she's very strategic in how she moves. So, you have
Ace
to
gives
engage
me
her.
homebody vibes, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you got to be a man. She's an old school type. So she wants the man to come to her, court her, and things of that nature. So if you're expecting her to be like a Precious, where she's an extrovert, where she's going to say something to you and engage with you automatically, Ace is not going to do that. Ace is going to sit back, chill, drink her wine, drink her drink, and chill. Not going to ruffle any feathers. You've probably seen that in other episodes where she kind of walked off and did her own thing. So I just wanted everyone to experience Ace and say, look, she's a really dope woman. And as men, that's what we need to do. Say, look, hey, she's a dope woman. You don't have to have a romantic connection for you to speak highly of her, because I speak highly of all the women on the show. But, she was a dope woman, and I wanted everyone else to know that.
Okay. I'm hearing that. And so obviously, was she number one choice, or was she number two choice? And
She was always number one. She was never number two. Ace
So
was
she was
always
ahead of
number one.
Joy on the list.
Ace was Joy was always number 2. Ace
And
was
Ace
always
number
number
one.
1. Yeah.
So in deliberations, you're always having as number
Ace was
one?
always number 1. Never no change in that. And Sabrina was always my bottom. I was consistent. So nothing that ever changed. That's the reason why production didn't show every time I voted, because I kept it consistent. Ace, Joy. 1, 2. At the pool party, Ace, Joy. Sabrina in the bottom. First day, Sabrina in the bottom. No change in the game.
Okay, cool, fair enough. I'll come back to Ace. There's a few more questions I wanna ask on that, because I know you pretty much left. Well, she left a little bit later on, but obviously when
Yeah.
you left, that was her connection, pretty much in a sense gone.
Yeah.
And so you obviously then, I guess, didn't have a connection with Sabrina. Sabrina was your bottom.
Yeah.
But there was obviously Sabrina Gate. There was a whole situation there which blew up that day. So I want to get your thoughts. I want to break it down so we get it very, very, very clear. Very, 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 very clear. Okay. All right. So that date was meant to be what?
Okay. So that date.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to talk about whole Sabrina Gate?
Yeah, the whole Sabrina Gate, man. Is the energy that you guys have together? Does it start from before then? Are there incidents that have happened before then?
We never had any energy. So this is what it was, and I'll draw out the whole timeline.
Okay.
It's deliberations. Now, mind you, as I spoke before, I've been on the bottom. I've been getting these feedback dates, right? So I already know with Laverne don't have that many lives left over. And so we're going into this week where it's women's deliberation, and a man is going home. So that day, I think it was like a Tuesday, something like that. It was Paul, Clifton, and I on a phone call, and we always talked about, okay, look, who you think going home and stuff like this. So I was like, yeah, we was on a phone call. I was like, yeah, pretty much, guys, my 9 lives are over. And I used to joke, I don't know if they showed this or not, but I was like, I'm the Teflon V. They keep on trying to vote me off, but I'm still here. I said, so they're going to keep trying to vote me off, but I'm going to still stay alive. And when I was talking to Clifton and Paul, I said, well, I'm pretty much sure it's going to be me this time. They're like, nah, because you got Ace, Joy's got your back, stuff like that. So y'all, you good. I'm like, nah. I said, I pretty much know for sure. And so I get a phone call. Now, mind you, as we go through this, we get calls from the talent director and the producers, where we need to be at, all this stuff and whatsoever. So we know it's going to be 3 dates. So I get a phone call. I say, hey, look, hey, Paul, Clifton, this is one of the producers. I got to get off. So I'm going on a date tonight. So I'll see what happens. Now, mind you, this producer made a mistake. They called me. He was like, hey, Laverne good? I was like, yeah, he good. Oh, okay, cool. I just want to make sure he goes show. I said, yeah, he already know he getting voted off. Okay, cool, no problem. All right, bet. Hang up. Now, that producer thought I was the talent director. So he thought I was the talent director. So I played like I was the talent director. I said, okay. So I called Clifton and Paul back. I said, hey, guess what? Producer just called me. It's like, I said, oh, it's me going home. He said, how you know? I said, because he thought I was a talent director, and I played like the talent director, and I confirmed that I'm going home. So they're like, what? I said, yeah, no lie. So I hang up with them. I call the producer back. I say, hey, look, by the way, that was me, right? They're like, huh? I said, yeah, this is Laverne. That was me, right? Oh, shit, my bag, dog. I said, don't worry about it. He's like, are you going to show up? I said, yeah. I said, but guess what? I'm just giving y'all 5 minutes. We ain't doing no hours. We ain't doing nothing. I'm getting in there and getting out. So that's how Sabrina Gate played out. So when they knew me coming into the date, that I knew I was going home. So that's the reason why they got me, coming out my truck. And that's the reason why I wore the jogging suit, because I'm like, I'm not going to waste a good outfit to come and get voted off. So I'm just going to throw on my jogging shirt, my jogging pants, and we're going to make this real fast. So that's how Sabrina Gate played out. So no Joy, no Ace told me that I was getting voted off. So the producers actually confirmed I was getting voted off.
Okay.
Then, of course, everything played out. Now, mind you, when I walked in, one of the producers, Rob, they mic'd me up. I said, "Look, we're not making this a long situation." And usually they give a speech, say this, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. I already know this. So when I go in, mind you, I had to drive there. So I'm already got this in my mind. I'm not going to let them play me. So I'm going to go out on my own terms. I'm not going to allow them to say some lame speech that you're not ready to love and all this stuff and call me out my name once again, because I dealt with that on multiple dates. I'm not going to deal with it no more. So when I went in, get mic'd up, I go in, she tried to hug me. I said, "Nah, we're not going to do that." Because once again, we ain't never hugged. So why are we going to hug now? And plus, I already know that I'm going home. She don't know that I know this. And then also, I had the information knowing that it was a voting alliance of a suspected voting alliance, of which, I let the cat out the bag, because I was like, oh, I already knew about this before this kind of happened, because I was told this well back. So I just made it. I brought
By
it to,
who?
So this is Sabrina Gate. This is how it all played out. All right. So Precious told Ace. Ace told me.
Okay. So that's the truth, yeah, because it wasn't pressed. Because it wasn't pressed directly telling you.
Yeah, she told.
She said that she didn't say nothing. She didn't say
and Ace told me, and I didn't want to expose Ace. I wanted to protect Ace, and Ace was still on the show at that time. He was still on the show, so I didn't want to, say, oh yeah, this is what was said totally. So I just kind of made sure that I left that detail out.
So what exactly was said about this voting gate? Let's expose that quickly.
Well, it was a voting block. It was a voting block to vote me out. So they wanted to break up the couples. They felt as though that it wasn't fair that the blind dates was not getting a fair chance, because our connections had already been made. So they wanted to break up the couples. So I guess it was a phone call, a text, or whatever between Sabrina, Carmen, and Tina. And the conversation was we need to vote Laverne off.
Wait, say that again. Just that last part again. So who's
it was I don't know if it was a text or call, but we need to vote Laverne off.
So the girls got together and said they need to vote you off.
Yeah.
So out of all the people they wanted to vote off, that they wanted you to go off. Okay.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't vote off Clifton, because Clifton, he was never in the bottom. So they couldn't vote off Demetrius because he was never on the bottom. And the people that was, had this conversation, Sabrina, Carmen, and Tina, they all had connections with Clifton and Demetrius. So why would they go after any one of those? So the lowest hanging fruit was Laverne.
Okay, so who instigated this gate then? So
I don't know. I have no idea. I just wanted to make sure that everything was put out there, because if it was going on, and we addressed this at the reunion, if it was going on, okay, that it has nothing to do with Laverne. It has something to do with them, because that's the way they was moving. I wasn't moving that way.
Was that when they're saying that they are were they voting as a block together on other people, or was it specifically they were voting for you off?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I can't give you those details, because I don't have all those details. I just heard that this was said.
Yeah.
This was happening. And when I got voted off, if you heard this, Kojo, you would have made the same correlation. And like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would make the correlation. They don't like me.
Yeah.
Rather than it being an alliance, the people that don't like you have said they don't like you, which is normal.
I mean, once again, I can't tell. I wish I could answer it. I wish I could tell you exactly. I cannot.
Okay.
And
So
I see some comments. I'm not blaming. So let's be
I'm not
clear.
saying you're blaming anyone, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not blaming anybody. I really don't care. This was the stuff that was going on. So if you're going to have a opinion about something, take all the data in, because guess what? People play games, and
I
that's
agree.
what was happening. People
I
was playing
agree.
games.
Yeah.
So Laverne was not playing games because I was not out here. I never said anything negative. I'm trying not to talk in third person. So, and I'll stop that. I was never saying anything negative about anyone. If I did not have a connection with you, I just kept it 100. I don't have a connection with them. I was not trying to make anybody embarrass anybody. I wasn't trying to get no points. I wasn't trying to do anything. So I can really care less. And my feelings was never hurt. But you're not going to insult me. You're not going to talk bad about me. And then I treat you with grace and reverence, and you still don't be accountable for your actions. The only thing I ask everybody to do is be truthful. If you don't like me, that's fine. I'm not for everybody. Just let it be. You don't have to say I'm a narcissist or anything like that, because if you do say that, show me data points. I'm very scholarly in my approach, because anyone who went to college understands you can't write a paper or say something without citing a source. So if you want to say something, especially something so derogatory and so negative, say why. Don't say because I feel this way, because you're not an expert. Not unless you're an expert in that field, you cannot diagnose me. So that's why I got irritated about.
That's
So
fair
I'm
enough.
not blaming anybody. I'm not saying it's that person's fault, this person's fault. I'm just letting you guys know of what the total situation was. And this is TV. This is not real life as much as everyone wants to think it is. It's not real life. It's TV. It's edited. We do content, they edit it, and that's what it is.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I do. Like I said, I don't think you are a narcissist at all. But I would say, obviously, in terms of, okay, so you're saying, obviously, in terms of being scholarly and citing, but you're also making an assumption. Number one, you've made quite a few assumptions that some of the ladies who didn't like you, are the ones talking about you. You've also made an assumption that the ladies got together,
Is that an
got
assumption?
together.
When you
Yeah, I
say,
mean,
I
it's
mean, I
kind of an
mean,
assumption that they had it's an assumption to say they had an alliance, because
oh, it
the
was
other
because
assumption.
let me tell you why.
Okay, go on.
Because Precious and Sabrina are best friends. Most people don't know that they're best friends.
Yeah,
So,
and they both didn't get on with you, and you didn't
huh?
get on with them.
Huh?
So, do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, well. See, my point is this. All right, well, I kind of lost my point. Oh, no, here it is. This is what I'm saying. They showed that they did not like me on camera. They showed that they didn't like me by the things they said.
yeah,
Because Kojo, if I can tell you, I didn't agree with everyone, but when did you hear me say anything negative or give them feedback? Because I don't know these women, so I can't tell you if they're a narcissist, if they're a liar, or anything. I can't tell you that. But what I can do is tell you verbatim, and people came and told me. So I even had a conversation with Carmen. It was a text out there. So that's not a lie. That was truthful. It was a text out there. Do I have the text in my hand? No. But it was truthful. Was it admitted? Yes. Precious admitted it on her Instagram feed and
that
said
what? That
yes,
what? Wait, that what?
that this was said. So it wasn't
What, the alliance
untruthful.
part? You mean?
I mean, I won't say alliance. I forgot exactly what it was, but this is what it was. And then the proof is in the pudding. The women did not like me because if you like someone, you treat them with respect. You treat them with dignity. They did not like me, and that showed because of how they treated me. They did not treat me with respect and dignity. They did not. And I'm not. And there's no hard feelings over
What?
that. That's
What?
just the facts of it.
Okay, for you then, what was the evidence for you that they didn't treat you with dignity and respect? For you, what were they doing that you felt like they weren't treating you with dignity and respect?
It's not the voting off. It's the calling me a negative names, calling me a narcissist, calling me messy. They blamed the whole truth of their situation on me, where I didn't create the questions. I didn't tell people what to say. It was a game that all us adults decided to play, but they chose to blame me because they didn't like me. So I'm asking you that question. So if I ask you to play a game, Kojo, and you agree to play it, and then your feelings get hurt, can you blame me for playing that game? You had the right to say, I don't want to play this game, Laverne, or I don't want to do this, Laverne. But I got blamed for it. So that's why they did not like me. That's the reason why I say that.
Okay. So they felt like you were messy for starting the game of truth or dare.
And yeah, and what you guys didn't see, once again, full content, full context.
Go for it.
So what you guys did not see is the producer told me, hey, Laverne, we need one conversation. We can't have 20 small conversations. So keep it to one conversation. All right, no problem. So I'm asking them questions about dating, about life, and all that stuff. And it was boring.com. Everybody had the politically correct answers. It was boring. Nobody wanted to see that on TV. So then I say, hey, look, do you all want to play Have You Ever Never? Or do you want to play Truth or Dare? And then everybody chose to play Truth or Dare. Everybody, all 20 people, whoever there, chose to play Truth or Dare. Those questions was asked by individuals. Those actions was done by individuals. But people whose feelings got hurt blamed me for it.
Whose feelings got hurt in the game then?
Huh?
Whose feelings in the game? Whose feelings got hurt
There's
in the game?
a couple of people. I mean, I think Tori was upset. Carmen was upset. There was a couple of people upset.
Why was Carmen upset?
I don't know. Once again, I think even Precious was upset. She's called it messy. She like Laverne.
Definitely, yeah, we saw that part.
Now, once again, the proof is in the pudding.
Did anyone else say? Did anybody else say they were?
Yeah, Carmen said it was messy. Carmen said it was messy. Once again, why is it messy? Because Laverne, you all could have easily said, we don't want to play this game. You didn't have to play. You didn't have to ask any questions. You could have said, I'm not going to do this. But you chose to do it. It didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out.
I agree. Yeah.
So now you blame it on me. And for the life of me, I never understood that. So that's why I say they didn't like me, because they blame me for everything. Even saying like, look, Laverne is shut off and he doesn't want to talk to us. I talk to everyone. I engage with everyone. But when you get on camera, you get to be this new person. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll take it.
Okay.
And so that's why when the whole Sabrina Gate, I said I want to go out on my own accord.
Okay. So the situation between yourself and Sabrina, when you got there, you said, you know what, you're ready to bounce. Let's keep it short. Let's keep it whatever. And then as you're talking, what's happened?
I mean, what you got to see, she literally cursed me out.
Okay.
During that session, but if you look at all the episodes, they never show anyone saying a cuss word, even though we definitely said curse words.
Yeah.
So they was not going to allow those curse words on there. That's why she stormed out. And the reason why I interrupted her, because she kept cursing. I was like, you're not going to talk to me like that. That's not going to happen. We're going to have a conversation, but if you're going to talk to me like that, you're not going to call me out my name and just say whatever. We're not going to do that. Me not knowing that they're not going to air this, I'm thinking that they're going to air all this so everyone can see the whole dialogue.
Yeah.
But they did not. And then after this week, I guess they saw how Sabrina really was. So many people were like, oh, I can see now. Now, it was much worse on mine because it was bad words said and everything.
Okay. So she was basically cussing you out, basically.
I wouldn't say cursing me out like every word was a cuss word, but she had some choice words for me.
Okay. So she has some choice words for you Did you react? No reaction, or
I mean,
did it?
I mean, I could take it, Kojo. It was like, all right, okay, Sabrina, whatever. Because I never said a curse word too. I never called her out her name. Never said anything disrespectful. I just stayed true to what I was told. Say, look, this is what I was told. This is what what's going on, and that's what it was, and that's why I kept it to be. Because what I didn't want it to be was, Laverne, you're a narcissist and all this stuff and whatsoever. Because I got tired of hearing that. So I know everyone has their comments about it, but it was literally draining emotionally, spiritually, on multiple facets to be constantly talked about in such a way and not knowing what you did to people. That's why I can't answer your question, because I never did anything. I don't care if you don't like me. Cool. I'm not for everybody. But it was no reason for some of the things that were said. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. It just wasn't.
But wouldn't that be wouldn't this be a great time again to, if you feel like these people are having an energy against you, or not, some force against you, wouldn't this be a great time to actually go to people and be like, listen, look, I don't know what's going on, but what's the issue between us two? And be ready to accept it, because as you're saying what you're saying, I've also, I've seen, I'm just saying.
Kojo, see, what you guys don't realize is we filmed this last year.
Okay.
So I didn't wait till I did an interview with you for stuff to air. Before stuff even aired, I sat down with people. Okay. That's what I said. I sat down with Sabrina, Precious, and Nakia in Sabrina's house. Okay. Before any of this was aired, when we threw paper and everything, it was no issues. No, you're a narcissist. This is why you're a narcissist. This is why you this. Nothing. So that's why I said.
What did they say specifically?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. We don't have issues. We didn't have beef. But guess what? That's the reason why I showed up to the premiere party, because it was no issues. It was no beef. I was not going to show up to the premiere party because I knew the things that they said and I didn't like it. But I was the bigger person to say, you know what? I want to look past all that. There's water underneath the bridge. Let it go.
Okay, so did you? Okay, so I want to make it very clear, because when I get them, I'm going to ask them specific questions.
Yeah.
When you had this sit down with Sabrina, Dakia, and Precious, right? Yeah. Put on my notes because I ain't gonna forget that. Now, when you had that conversation with Sabrina, Dakia, and Precious, did you ask them why did you guys call me a narcissist? Did you ask that question?
Yes.
And their response was,
mind you, the person who did it was Precious. Never gave me never. We talked in text. We talked in DMs. Never called me a narcissist.
Okay, she never called you a narcissist.
Never called me a narcissist. Okay. Never sat down and said, Laverne, this is why you're a narcissist. Never. Okay. No one ever told me that. Not Dakia, not AP, not anyone. Matter of fact, people showed me when they wanted to go on dates with me and sent messages to production, and production ignored them. So how this whole thing came about is Laverne Gate. But it's all good.
What do they say? So when you
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. When we sat down, and I sat down, I talked to Dakia, had one-on-ones with her, and none of that. Dakia never said anything. Dakia actually apologized. She was like, hey, Laverne, this is what it was. But hey, look, once we had a conversation, we Gucci. We cool. Same thing with Precious. Hey, have a conversation with her and so forth. Hey, I just want to know, this is a clarification. This is what it is. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
What is this is what it is? What is that?
No, that's what I'm saying. We had a conversation. I mean, we had a conversation way back. So I can't verbatim tell you exactly. Yeah. But we had a conversation. It was never, this is a narcissist. You are a narcissist because of this. We spoke. We actually apologized to each other. We apologized to each other. I said, look, I accept your apology. Hey, look, I know when we was filming things, all this stuff or whatever, is water underneath the bridge. But what you're trying to get, I can't give you, because it was never told to me. I have my phone right here. No one ever called me and said anything. I called.
Yeah, but they don't have to call you. You said you were there.
That's what I'm saying.
This is why it's blowing my mind. You
That's
were
what
there
I
and you
just
asked
wait.
a specific question.
Kojo, I answered your question. And you're trying to get something that I can't give you.
I'm
So
not,
wait, listen.
because you're not actually asking a question, because you actually, what you're doing is you give me another part of the story.
Okay.
I'm asking a specific question, and if you're telling me the answer is they said nothing, so so let's make it very clear so that I get a clear answer and I can take it back to them. I'm asking a specific question. When you ask the question about whether you are, when you ask them about why did you guys call me a narcissist, their answer was just directly what their answer was. What was their answer? Just direct answer.
Okay. All right. So I could not get an answer to that. Never have gotten an answer to that. That's what I'm saying. I sat there with Dakia, Sabrina, and Precious. This was in November of last year. The only person that said that was Precious.
Okay.
Never gave me an answer.
So she never
I can't tell you. I don't know.
So she never answered the question that you asked her that.
She never gave me a reason. I still to this day, if you want to have an interview with Precious and say, why did you call Laverne a narcissist? Because I'm curious as the reason why as well.
Okay.
It wasn't Nakia, it wasn't Sabrina, it was Precious that said that. Now, why she said that, I have no clue.
Okay. So just to clarify, Precious didn't say anything in regards to the narcissist. So her answer was basically in the sense of, I don't know why I called you that. Is that what?
No, it was nothing. She never gave me an answer. Like, okay, I'm about to give you an example. When I talked to Dakia apologized for calling me bad vibes.
Okay.
She apologized. We had the conversation. She said, Laverne, after we talked, we cleared the air, and I never had anything issue with it. She was like, look, this is what I perceived. I was wrong. I apologize. Same thing with Sabrina. I apologize to Sabrina. I say, hey, Sabrina, we all sat down. I said, look, I apologize to Sabrina. Actually, the week of when we filmed that one episode, I said, look, it was no disrespect towards you. You were just the person that was delivering the message, and I was just totally over the whole situation. Okay. So if it was you, Carmen, or Precious, it was going to be the same. If it was Ace or Joy, it would have been different. I apologized to her right there when we was in Bethesda, Maryland. I apologized to her, and then apologized to the point where we was cool. We was Gucci. In November, we was out, and I heard that Dakia, Precious, and Sabrina, Dakia and Precious was over at Sabrina's house. Yeah. And they were like, yeah, Laverne, come on over. And I came on over. We chopped it up. We was all Gucci. We was no issues. And even to that point, I told Precious, I said, I didn't like that, what you said, because I'm not a narcissist. But never did she say, I apologize for that, and nothing like that. Nothing. She was more upset about the whole, well, Laverne, I never did this or whatever. I was like, you missing the point, Precious. I said, the point is, you said these things, and this is my issue. And never gave me an apology, never said, this is why I said it. So I can't answer that question for you, Kojo. I can only answer the question that I know Dakia and I talked. She apologized. Sabrina and I talked. She accepted my apology. That was it. I don't know nothing that Sabrina said about me in a negative sense, meaning which she never called me out my name and nothing like that. But I just knew she wasn't feeling me.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So obviously that
my goodness, that
was hot, right? You're a good sport. So I appreciate you. So question, what happened to the connection between yourself and Ace then? Because obviously seemingly you guys look like you were gonna go off the show together. She never had a connection, you two were gonna go somewhere. What happened with the connection of you and Ace?
It just didn't work out. So what you have to realize is we're in a cocoon in this whole process. And when we're in this cocoon, we can't hang out with each other off camera, meaning which the production do not want us to hang out together, don't want us to spend time together off camera. So most of our time that we spend towards each other is with cameras all in our faces and with people all around us. So we never have any time where it's just us. And then once we was both off the show, we did spend time together. We did go on dates. And it was just that she wanted we just wasn't equally yoked. It just wasn't there. I wasn't going to waste her time. So I wasn't going to waste her time where I knew that, you know what, I'm not the guy that she needed at this point in time. And which we was both fine with. We both had that conversation, and we both decided to go our separate ways.
Okay, because you guys have different operating systems in that sense.
Yeah.
So it didn't have anything to do with Joy.
With who?
It didn't have anything to do with Joy.
Hell no.
Because you enjoy this connection, which is very naughty. So I'm wondering, did it have anything to do with Joy? Did Joy have play a part in any of this?
Joy and I is like sister and brother. That's my girl.
Sister and brother. Oh no!
Yeah, that's my girl.
Get out of here, Laverne. Get out of here.
Nah,
You're telling me that you telling me? Listen, do you know how many times that us men say someone's a sister and still have sex with that person? Please, come on.
I would never. I would.
You tell me don't find her attractive.
Look. No.
You tell me don't find her attractive. No. Wait. Laverne.
I'm about to answer your question. All
right.
So she's a very attractive woman.
Are you attracted?
No, I'm not. I'm not romantically attracted to Joy. No, I'm not.
Sexually attracted?
I'm not sexually attracted to her. No, I'm not. No.
All right.
So that's why I look at her as a sister. And then also, Clifton is like a brother to me, and that's a rule. Clifton is like a brother, so it would never be anything with Joy and I besides a friendship and a brother-sister relationship. Because I love her with the love I have for a sister, or like I have for my sister. So I don't see her in that. I don't see her in that sense, huh?
Has that always been from the very beginning? Is that how it's always been?
Yeah, actually, it has. Because you know how some people you have a romantic connection with, and you want to have something more with them. With Joy and I, it was just always that connection where we just vibe well together. We can have a great conversation. I know some people, probably make a point. Well, I've been talking to her for like 2 hours on the phone or whatsoever. Joy and I spent hours on the phone, and never did I ever think, oh yeah, it's going to be something other than having a great friendship. And that's what it is. When you have that mature level about you, not everybody not every woman that you come in contact with, you got to have a sexual relationship with, or it has to be some type of romantic connection. It could be just a connection of respect for each other and maturity, and say, you know what, I want you as a friend. And that's exactly how it was with her. I want her as a friend. Did I think that we will blossom into, us talking every week and engaging? Nah, I never thought that. But she texts me when I do things wrong and so forth, and keeps me honest. And then I talk to her about, getting back into dating if I do get back into dating. So we have great conversation, but it would never, ever, ever, ever be anything between Joy and I don't even look at her like that.
That's mind-blowing. I'll tell you why it's mind-blowing, because I've never flirted with my friend who I think is a sister and said, touch my butt.
Wait. So you're saying that
never.
That's the second day we met each other.
And I asked you from the very beginning. So are you telling me that it's never been the case that you've liked her like that? You said no from the very beginning. It's been like that.
It's never been, oh, you know what? I got a romantic vibe with her. No, it's never.
But you're asking to touch your butt, bro. Like, what?
I mean, because I tease her about touching my ass that, oh, I gotta have her. No,
but that's a joke. You can't ask the sister. You can't ask the girl that you're saying that it's a sister to be touching your butt. Come on, bro.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can't. But I can.
And then you made that person your number two. So I'm confused. If she's your sister and she's number two, wait, let me confirm that. Is she your number two?
Yeah, she was my number two.
See, so this is not making sense. Why is she your number two? If you're not romantically interested and you're not attracted to her, why is she number two? And why is she touching your butt?
They never said who's your romantic connection. They said who's your connection, and I had a connection with her. They never said
who you want around the thing, Laverne. Come on, Laverne. Come on.
They never said who you want to sleep with.
No. It's about sleep, though.
Look, I know. Me and Joy has never had any inappropriate conversation. The only thing that people can grab is, oh, you asked her to grab her ass, and that's nothing. So real talk.
No, that's more than nothing, sir. Because
that's nothing.
You're telling me this is okay. Okay. Let me just put it into perspective. Okay, let me put it into perspective. Yeah. Someone, let's say it's your friend's wife. You see her as a sister. You would never ask your friend's wife to touch your butt. You see her as a sister, right? It's a boundary.
Matter of fact, see, that's where we're different because I have a best friend that we joke like that.
No.
Are they? Wait! You got to hear me out.
No.
You got to hear me out. I knew Joy would not touch my ass. So, but you guys are. I mean, really, it's nothing. It would never be anything. I respect Joy and Clifton's relationship way too far for us to ever have that. And that's
okay.
Wait. Let me finish.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
And that's transpired now. But going back to your initial statement, when we initially came through the process, I did not have a romantic vibe with her. I did not connect with her like that. But we just had a good friendship. Okay. And a great friendship that just transpired and blossomed into this. But no, it was never like, oh yeah, I want her or anything like that. So no. Okay. I know it's hard to believe, but no.
It really is hard to believe. And no one asks people who to touch their bum.
You probably wouldn't believe, but I don't talk to any other women. So I never flirted with none of the women like saying anything inappropriate in text or anything like that, or flirted with them like the Kia and I was very cool and stuff like that. Never nothing above, nothing sideways. Matter of fact, I knew that she had liked Demetrius a lot. And I asked her, I said, do you want me to throw a word in for you? You want me to say something to the brother? So I never, circle back or never tried to get with any of these women because that just wasn't the case. It just wasn't.
Okay. Hey, listen. I mean, this is new to me. So,
even Carmen, nothing. Hey, how you doing, and all that stuff. But would not date her. I would not date any of them. So no.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Was there anything on the show that we didn't see that you would like us to know? Because was there anything else that happened on the show that you want to give some context to?
I mean, at this point, people gonna think what they gonna think, right? I never was one to kind of try to change people's minds because people want to make their own opinions up. That's why I was a little bit frustrated with the whole process because if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do it because just like me joking with the ass thing, it's taken out of context and so forth, where it's just really a joke. It's just really having fun and being playful and stuff like that. And even to the point now, like Kojo, I haven't watched any of the episodes, but when you made the point where I said nothing number one, nothing number two, I never knew that people had issues with it and so forth because I just never watched it. And even if I watched it, I would have never thought anything of it. But now, and this is a good thing and the blessing about this whole process, it made me a lot more aware. Made me a lot more aware of the things I do and how I go about things. So that's why I accept and not blame anybody for any of the things I've said and done. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I made my mistakes. And, I put myself on a platform for the world to see. And it gave me a lot of reflection, a lot of times where I look at it and I can say I can do things a lot better. So I just look at it as a blessing and say, okay, here's another platform for you to take a look at yourself in retrospection and make some changes, make some adjustments. So I am going to make some adjustments. So I'm not going to be playful about people touching my ass no more, unless we're in a committed relationship. I'm not going to joke as much because I joke a lot, and sometimes you don't know when I'm being serious. And that's just me just trying to make fun and laugh at my pain. So a lot of stuff that I've been through and stuff like that, the reason why I joke is I'm just laughing at my pain. But if I offended, I won't say if. I know I offended some people. Shit, I offended you by some of the things I said. So for that, I apologize. I mean, sincerely, no jokes, not being facetious and nothing like that. I really apologize for, anything that was taken out of context, but it's truly all meant in fun and meant to just, have a good time. So, a lot of what you see, I wish I could just sit here and explain myself and give you all a perfect picture of me, but I can't because I'm not perfect. So,
No, I agree. That's fair enough, bro.
yeah.
And you didn't offend me. No, I wasn't offended, bro. I wasn't offended. I was just challenging what you were saying. So you're fine on that. I would say, listen, Laverne, I think you're a great guy. I don't think you're a bad person at all. Not even close to, bro. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be a label to. I don't think you're a narcissist either. What I would say is, from just what I've heard, I think there's just an awareness piece, bro.
Yeah,
An
yeah,
awareness
I
piece. I
agree.
think there's an awareness piece in terms of maybe how you may come across to other people. So for
Amen.
you, it might not look like that, but to other people, how they're receiving you, it
Yes.
may come off a different way, which is why some people might have received you in a certain way, and why there were certain incidents where people
Yeah.
felt like this is what you might have been saying, right? So
Yep.
I don't think it's again, I don't think you're a bad person. I definitely don't think you're a narcissist. I think there's just an awareness piece. And just being a bit more aware in terms of how you may come across other people. That's
Exactly.
what I would say be looking at, so don't beat yourself up. I don't even think you need to even apologize personally, because I don't think you were trying to come at anybody, and I don't think you even came at anybody. You were telling us your truth, and I was challenging that truth. I don't think there's
Yeah.
even a need for an apology there. But the fact that you've apologized shows me that you do care about what we are thinking in terms of towards you. And I want to say, listen, bro, keep your head up, keep going the way you're going. Just be a bit more aware. That's all I would
Well,
say,
yeah.
bro.
Oh, I received that 1,000%, and that's what I get for this whole thing. Be aware, and it made me actually be embarrassed at some of the things. I'm like, oh my goodness, why did I say that? or
Be like that.
don't. The Homer Simpson. Don't do that. So yeah, definitely, I agree with that, Kojo, 1,000%. That I need to be a little bit more aware and be cognizant of it. So
I appreciate that, bro, man. I
yeah,
appreciate
I
me doing
appreciate it.
love for that, bro. Honestly, bro, thank you for coming through, bro, because you've given us entertainment for tonight too, as well, through your truth. So I appreciate that. Is there anything that we can follow? Anything that you're doing? Any projects that you're getting off the ground that we can help support, get behind? You know what I mean? Anything like that we can really, support?
The only thing I'll say you can support is do something nice to somebody. So
Mm,
if you want to support something, just do something nice for somebody and make them do something nice for somebody else. That's all I want. So
well,
no t-shirts, no business to advertise. Just do something nice for someone or say something nice to someone. And better yet, if you have issues with someone, whatever it might be, settle those issues so that way you can settle your heart.
appreciate that.
So
Appreciate that.
sometimes we need that. You never know what somebody's going through. So just be kind to somebody.
I like this. I like this. It's very, very true. You never know what people are going through. So listen, honestly, audience members, thank you so much. I know there's been a split divide. Listen, you've caused divide like Moses in the chat, Laverne, you know what I'm saying? There are people fighting for you, there are people fighting against you. Listen, that one thing I would say about you, bro, is that you get us speaking. So that's a gift in itself, bro. Do you know what I mean? So I appreciate you for that as well. And I appreciate you the fact that you came in and said your truth. And honestly, bro, I connected with you earlier on when you told your story. And I appreciate you for actually sharing your heart, bro, because that's real. I can't lie
Yeah.
to you, bro. And I pray that we connect after this as well and continue, because I think, like I said, I think we've got some good conversations going as well. So, audience, listen, don't do anything I wouldn't do. How much I wouldn't do. So you gotta be careful on them streets, okay? Stay safe out there, baby. And we'll be back here tomorrow night with Eric from Ready to Love as well. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked.